Hi there, welcome to a new concept for the channel where you, the viewer, gets to come onto the show and tell me, Houston, we have a problem. I want to hear from you, your community, and the issues you have with the United Kingdom currently. And the only thing I ask you to do is start a conversation with, Houston, we have a problem. When you see the description on YouTube, all you have to do is scroll down the description, click on that link, it'll bring you straight into the studio. From there, I'll invite you up. You start the conversation with Houston, we have a problem. We'll see what we can do to help you, your community, and your problems going forward. You never know, it might be my next journey, lengthening bread to the UK, to come to your community and cover your issues. So get live, get involved. Houston, we have a problem. Hi folks, welcome to the latest phone-in show, Houston, we have a problem, and this time the main topic, but not unique to it, we'll move on to other things later on, is first of all, the protest up in Peterhead and the one in Aberdeen, attended both of Saturday, along with these two maniacs, and the UK's in general over the weekend. There was just some fantastic things going on, so I'm joined tonight by Stephen, who was the organiser of the Peterhead protests. He's sitting there doing his best Jimmy Savile, Nalgan advert. He's nice Cuban. and there's regular guest, Kevin the Ranter, off Twitter. So, how are you two guys tonight?
All right, mate, aye. Tired. It was a long day yesterday, but a good day. Definitely a good day. Enjoyed it. Both of them.
Oh God, he's arrived. Listen, there's a Brad Pitt of Scottish social media just joining us now, right as usual. I don't know. Were you stuck there, John? Were you just getting your makeup done, son?
No comment.
Getting his spray tan on.
He's only on to plug his TV. His
latest video. John's just using you, Craig.
Before we go into the serious stuff, John, how much did you make charging £5 a selfie on Saturday at Peterhead?
Don't know. How many buy me coffees did you earn?
A couple where I was in Peterhead, which I thought was weird because I didn't have any videos of it. But
all the money went to getting lozenges because I've lost my voice for 24 hours. So
that's not a bad thing.
I know.
Not getting any complaining on this panel.
What's the topic of conversation today?
Oh, just first of all, I want to cover Peterhead. I want to cover Aberdeen. I want to cover what's happened in general over the UK the weekend, because I don't think we're the only people that are out protesting by the sounds here. And I'm just buzzing. I'm just absolutely buzzing about the whole thing.
Has there been any press? Has there been any? I don't read papers, so has the papers been on force at all?
I've not even checked, mate. I've been quite busy. By the time I got up the road last night, I was in my scratcher, and then the day I was away, the wee man, he was playing Celtic today, St Johnson. So I was away. I was behind enemy lines today. I'm not just believe what I've just done. Does anybody know any Protestant Rangers fans we could get in to balance this up again? I'm surrounded here.
I know, eh?
I know.
Anyway, he was away. He was up playing Celtic today, so that was most of my morning. And then I came in, I got up one of the videos, I stuck it out earlier on. So I've been jumping about that since flying back down last night. So I've not really seen anything on social media. Has there been anything on that you guys have seen? Mainstream media?
Not a thing. Watched the telly this morning. Scotland Today, nothing. Mainstream media, nothing. But are you really surprised?
Well, it would have been on mainstream media if it all kicked off, but there was no issues at all. Well, we weren't the antagonisers, I can tell you that right now. Watch
Palm Scotland's asking how to get on the screen. There's a link, Watch Palm. But if you give me maybe 20 minutes or so just to get the stuff that we're going to talk about, and then we'll invite people up to the screen. But if anybody is wanting to jump in, I'll give you a shout. We're going to be taking in calls, and there's a link in the YouTube description. And if you're watching on Twitter, I think it's on the title. So that's what we do there. Sorry, guys. Sorry about that. So, nothing on mainstream at all?
No, not a thing.
I think the only place that's recorded anything is Aberdeen Guardian. That's about it. It's just for local Aberdeen news, but again, they were just filming it. Aberdeen Guardian.
Is that
maybe
like,
for Aberdeen.
that's not as big as the Press and Journal up there, is it?
No. They were declined an interview as well, anyway.
you kill any chance of getting any mainstream media by hunting the only people that wanted to cover it.
Well, here, stand up to racism post on X as we're all tagged in.
Aye.
John's little pal, Josh, whatever his name is, he was on slaughtering us for kicking him out the group and banning him because he wanted to come up and cover it.
Was that the guy that worked for? He was a journalist.
Herald. Aye, when it kept playing with his goatee while he was talking.
Well, at the end of the day, like I asked him at the last refugee welcome rally what he was here to do, and he said he was here to cover the far right. And I said, well, you know, as soon as you've instantly said the far right, it kind of tells you what his narrative is and what he's going to write already.
Right, we'll start in chronological order. So, Stephen, the planning. How difficult was it? How long did it take you? How stressful was the whole process for you, mate?
Well, I think it took nearly 3 months start to finish. And council were a nightmare, absolute nightmare. Up until the final day, even the final day, they were trying to stop it. We'd phone them up, we'd send emails, they would agree they would play along, and then the next day you would chase up how far it was getting on, and then somebody else, oh, we've never heard of it. You haven't contacted us. We don't know what you're talking about. And it got repeated so many times, we just thought, you know what, we'll just scrap it, we'll just go with it. We tried to throw licenses that we needed 6 months notice. That was 6 weeks. 6 weeks before the protest, they wanted 6 months notice for a license. I was like, nah, no chance. I said, so we'll just scrap the burger van, we'll scrap the live music. That's why we were only playing a Spotify playlist, because I couldn't play any songs due to being threatened with fines. I was just behind the scenes stress as well. I mean, you know, myself, Alan, Barry, our PA guy, Suzanne, even Stephen Mitchell, we all received, like ourselves, the stand up to racism, but we ended up on all over Instagram with meet your local racist. As you know, I was doxxed on X. I was also doxxed on Facebook. I had an emergency police marker following my house. So the stress levels were mental.
Can I just stop you for a wee second there, Stephen? That in itself is actually quite telling, because if you rely on the mainstream and the narrative being driven, you would believe that those perceived far right are the violent ones and not the people on the far left. So why would you need a marker put on your house if that statement was true? I'll just cover this comment a wee second. Gerard Armstrong, and thanks very much for your donation there, Gerard. I do a lot of trips to go and follow immigration stories you might not be aware of if you're American, and any money raised goes into that. So thanks very much for that. But I thought your question was quite telling. What's going on, guys? American here, going to grad school in Aberdeen next year. I was there 2 months ago. I think I'm pretty street smart. Is there anything I have to be concerned about? What I would suggest to you, Gerard, is hang on here for probably a good maybe 10, 15 minutes, because we're doing this story chronologically. And when we were in Aberdeen after the protest we're talking about just now, John done an amazing interview with a local there. It might be very, very worth you seeing. And I think the most important thing for you is, if you're coming over here to study, is making sure you stay in the right area. And just watch this girl, 25-year-old girl that John interviewed. So I'll be putting that up later on. So it's worth hanging out for that. So Stephen, sorry, back to point. You told me something, and I meant to talk about it when I went up to do my speech, and it went out my head because it was just chaos. My speech was deciding to, at the spur of the moment, invite lefties up. So you told me a couple of stories about people being threatened and things like that, you know, and you maybe don't want to get any names, etc. But what what can you tell us? You'll know what you're. I mean, you gave me a lot of details when I was there, but using obviously common sense to decipher it. What are you happy to share that the sort of crazy stuff that was going on behind the scenes?
The one that happened on the final night, I can't disclose that on camera, but the Department of Work pensions need to be held accountable, along with the NHS, because their actions was absolutely despicable, threatening staff members that weren't speaking, they only wanted to attend. They were told if they attend and they are seen to be attending our protest, they would be fired instantly. No, I know.
That was it.
I know. What was that? Sorry.
That was the NHS and the Department of Work and Pensions.
Aye, guy from the job centre. We were informed that was threatened with a sack if he went anywhere near it. The NHS actually threatened a staff member because her husband was going to attend. If her husband attends, then you could be sacked as well.
No way. How can you be held accountable for your partner's actions? That's it. You imagine then. Imagine if the partner was arrested and sent to jail. Does that mean she'd lose her job? Because that's kind of worse than what you'd be doing if you just turned up at a protest. And I can't see that even being legal. That is absolutely shocking. But the problem is, Stephen, you would have seen the amount of people there at the request of the trade unions. So even if you were to go to your union and complain about this, you kind of know where you would end up.
You wouldn't stand a chance with the trade unions. I mean, I'm a member of a trade union myself, but it's a right wing. I don't want to say their name on camera. It's the only right wing trade union in the UK that defend you, including your political beliefs in the workplace, which is great. I can tell you off camera, but I don't know about plugging him on here.
Yeah, that's fine.
But the guy was ex BNP. That's why he started it. And fair play to the guy, because guys like me, not far right. I'm a normal working class person, a concerned parent. Us was everybody there at the weekend, and there's nobody will represent us or defend us in our workplace. Nobody. I mean, them far right posters as well. The guy Stevie, the guy who was with us, part of our team, he was reported because of his poster to his work, and they were told any trouble and you don't come back to your work. Simple as that. He did speak to the guy first and explain to him what was happening, and then his boss was like, right, okay, I understand. I did not understand it at first, so he was fine after that. But I mean, by all means, if you turn up at a protest and you fight with somebody and you're arrested for it, then by all means sack them. By all means, they've broken the law. But for attending a protest, no chance. It's illegal, right? But the NHS, the Department of Work and Pensions were disgusting. We heard there was school teachers in the counter protesters as well. Don't know how true it is, but we heard there was school teachers, which is horrible.
Yeah. There was a bit of a weird thing. Once I'd finished talking, I was wandering around, the outside just to see what it looked like from, normal viewpoint. And I'd walked quite close to the back where the counter protest were. And this guy came up and started talking to me. And he's like, see him, right? And he's pointing at this guy. I was like, mate, and I could see the coppers, like, what's going on? Because we were quite close to the copper. I went, mate, don't point. That could be translated as aggression. I said, but I see the guy you're talking about. And he went, again, this is a guy telling me something at a protest that I don't even know his name, right? So it might be not true. What he was saying was that guy there was a local school teacher that lost his job because of a child abuse thing, right? And I thought, and he's standing countering us.
I know who he is.
Well, don't mention his name, but does that sound genuine then?
Mm-hmm. Aye.
And he's standing in the counter protest. But you can go and stand with him.
Aye, I mean, that guy himself was running for an MP as an independent. An MP that didn't have the backbone to tell his constituents where he stood in the political spectrum, to try and get as many voters as he could and then betray half of them. It was going back to Brexit. I remember asking the guy, "You're doing a good job for the town. It's just let us know where you stand on Brexit, so we can either vote for you or not vote for you. Depending on that, is the guy refused to comment. So, well, you've lost my vote." And then it found out. Then everybody found out about his past, and now he's an activist.
Okay, we'll see that question, Gizmo. I'll come back to that later on, buddy, right? So, aye, so that was the planning. Took you months, lots of stress, lots of grief, lots of shenanigans to cope with, and a bit mental. So, Kev, other than phoning me and asking me to tag your lift off me, what did your planning involve to get there?
Just getting you and getting up with you. I mean, that was roughly about it. But I mean, hook up a crook. If I didn't have you yesterday, I mean, I would have got up there somehow. I just think that it's important that we really need to start finding our voices in Scotland. And there's been a lot of compliments today with you guys. John, yourself, Ryan H's speeches were outstanding. I mean, I couldn't be there proud to have been standing and witnessing that firsthand. I mean, you were all brilliant yesterday. The organisation of that protest as well, phenomenal. Obviously, it was a testament up at Peterhead that the gun platoon decided to stay silent all the way through it. Obviously, but they made their way to Aberdeen because they knew they could outnumber the people down there in Aberdeen. But
They're probably scared to open their mouth in Peterhead in case I gave them a microphone.
What was that? Sorry?
They're probably scared to open their mouth in Peterhead in case I gave them a microphone.
Well, that as well. I mean, if there was any example of how absolute lunatics they actually are, that was it right there. I mean, to come up on stage and actually stand there and rhyme off the things that we were there protesting about. I mean, you seen yourself clapping your hands and giving her a thumbs up and then nodding your head. And then it was right at the very end, absolute stupidity coming away with it's white men that create the rights. It's not the migrants. And I'm sitting there going, oh my God, then. Do you know what she reminded me? She reminded me when I was a kid. And I used to go by the houses where the garden was unkept, and we all used to be like, that's a haunted house, the witch lives in there. That's what that reminded me. Absolute crank. Do you know what I mean? Absolute fruit loop. Go and do your see before you come away with statements like that. Go and have a look. Go and look at the stats that are readily available out there for the Scottish people to see, and then come back and tell us it's nothing to do with it. We know we've got a problem with rapes in our country and paedophilia. Alex with Spartan highlights it daily. Do you know what I mean? But we don't need to be importing more of these people in, which are undocumented, unvetted, and we don't know nothing about them. But there's still, I mean, see, going down to Aberdeen, I mean, I came coming down the road in the car last night, and we're sitting talking with Gorilla TV, and I just was playing it over and over and over in my head. And honestly, any one of these people that turn up at these things, you're an absolute zoomer. You really are. You need to give your head an absolute rattle to see if you've got a brain in your ears. Because I was standing outside a hotel yesterday where there's unvetted men, and as you say, John will get to that interview because I spoke to John this morning, right? And they're sitting there going, we're more Scottish than you. And they didn't have one Scottish flag. They were shouting things in Arabic. They had a Lebanese flag. They had a Syrian flag. They had the Palestine flag. They had a big massive banner with Free Palestine on it. Do you know what I mean? And they've all got their face coverings on. Take your face mask off. If you've got that much conviction and belief in what you're standing up for, take your mask off and show yourself. Don't be a coward. Because everyone else at that protest yesterday, not one of us had a face covering on, because we believe in what we're standing up for. And these absolute crackpots, these cranks, We're standing on the other side of that road. Trans rights, pre-Palestine, all this nonsense. And not once about the migrants in the hotel. Do you know what I mean? They're absolute idiots. You're a weapon if you think you're doing the right thing. You've got no morals and you should be ashamed of yourself. And honestly, I'm absolutely raging about this still.
How's your blood pressure, Kev?
Oh, mate, honestly, I don't think I've ever been so angry. I've been playing over in my head time and time and time again. I've watched your speech a couple of times. I've watched John's speech a couple of times. I've watched Ryan's speeches, right? And you can see the frustration and the anger in your speeches, too. I mean, John does exactly what he said in the tin. He brought the noise. Do you know what I mean? And even yourself, I mean, you could just see the anger or the frustration in you when you were addressing them right at the very beginning. You're an absolute crackpot. You really are. There's something wrong with you if you think you're standing up for the right thing, because you're not doing the right thing at all. And do you know what? What really pisses me off more than anything, they're the people that are going to kill my country. That's exactly what they're going to do. They're going to be responsible for Scotland being an absolute mess, and they don't know it and they don't see it.
Mm-hmm. Just before I move on to John, I can see Watch BAM Scotland is in the green room, so mate, I'll see you there, buddy. And we've just got a couple of things that I was wanting to cover before we go to call, so I'll bring you up as soon as we're finished. And if you had to get away and come back, fine. I'll get you up as soon as if you had, if I'm hanging about. So thanks for that. Right, John, you went up early. You went up the night before. What did you think of the day?
Thought it was brilliant. Well done for putting that on, Stevie. I know how much effort goes into it. I'm having issues myself because I've been trying to organise one for Glasgow. I've been rejected, I think, twice now, 3 times for certain areas. And I think that's because my name's to it. So try to get a team together right now to possibly try and get one in Glasgow and bring the noise to Glasgow. But in regards to what I seen on the day, I seen nothing but people there that were concerned. Everybody, there was nobody was shouting at each other apart from the other crew were trying to start up something. To be fair to them, they were quiet for when we were speaking, so I don't know if they kind of get put in the naughty corner by the police. But yeah, I mean, it was just, I always work. I was saying to Kev, I spoke to Kev earlier on, and people probably seen me pacing up and down. I mean, my heart rate, yeah, Craig, I mean, I showed Craig my heart rate. My heart rate goes through the roof. And I always, for me, this is a war on the truth. And, I spoke about the World War III in my speech. I had a hell of a lot to say, but I just forget it, Craig, you're up there and you just kind of go with it, but this is a truth versus evil, if I'm being honest with you. And I always go back to how I was in 2021, in a wheelchair, bedridden, and for me, so my passion comes from personal experience. And I'm just sick of the lies. I'm just absolutely sick of the lies. So, yeah, what I witnessed was a fantastic day at Peterhead. What I witnessed in Aberdeen, a bit different, but, I was only there to do a bit of journalism in Aberdeen. But, yeah, I mean, all credit to everybody. And like I said in my speech, it'll only get bigger and bigger and bigger. But we don't have the media on our side, so we are the media.
Mm-hmm.
And there was some interesting points. I mean, there's many things I could say, so I'll highlight a couple, and then I don't know if you're going to show the video, Craig, but
yeah.
So there was a guy who was a security guard that was there, and he was black, and he was from, I want to say he was from Africa. I mean, Stevie, do you know where that guy was from?
I think he said Nigeria, did he not?
Nigeria, he was with.
So the boy
His name was Josh, I think.
So the boy was from Nigeria. Now, I asked him if he'd go on camera, but he said he wouldn't because he's got to be professional because security guard. And I said, that's fair enough. So I was speaking to him and I said, just to let you know, mate, before anything, I says, whatever people write about this, I says, it's no what we're made out. We're not, nobody here's racist or anything like that. And that was at the start of the day. And at the end of the day, the guy actually turned around and says, I agree with all you guys and what you're saying. And I mean, you were there, Stephen, we were talking. And the guy said to me, you know, I got away from my country to come to this country for a better life, but I had to go through the correct avenue. I had to do it the correct way. But he says, the people that are coming here unvetted, he says, I'm even worried about them. And he says, I've got kids myself, I've got daughters. And he says, so I'm getting a bit worried about this. And I was a bit like, well, you know, well, what do you think of them lying about us and all? And he says, no, he says, we have to, this is a topic that has to be discussed. And I think like 5 minutes later, me and Stevie were having a chat, and a girl walked past, didn't she, Stevie? And she gave us the fingers. And she walked past and started, you know, giving it that.
But before you got...
What's that?
Sorry, John, before you actually got her on camera, right? She said, I'll give you a statistic. The majority of paedophiles in this country are white men, white fathers in their own homes. That's what she said before you managed to get the camera on.
I mean, those statistics could potentially be correct, because Scottish is a predominantly white country. But like Alex Kearney said to me, I don't know if Stevie froze. Alex Kearney said to me that the numbers are rising from people from a different country. And there was actually, it's funny because it was actually, I actually put it on Twitter, I think last week. There was actually an article saying that I think it's 1 in 8 are not from this country now. So the numbers are rising now. She walked past, and I'll put the video on my channel. I've not had a chance. Like I said, I arrived home last night at daft o'clock, spent the day, family stuff and that. So I've not had a chance, but I'll put it all on. I'll do part one. Part one will be the Peterhead, and then part 2 will be the Aberdeen hotel. And I want to touch on that one as well. But regarding this girl, so she was walking by giving us the fingers. And then I've got the camera out, and she was saying to Stevie, that's it. The next thing, saying, you're bringing your daughter to this far-right racist, you know, what kind of parent are you? And I was like, wow, I couldn't believe it. So then I asked her, I says, can you tell us what we said was racist today? Everything. And I said, well, you know, it'll be on the video. But I said, I even told her, I says, the security guard was from a different country. You know, he was black as well. And I said, so, and he said, well, that's just one guy. I says, what does that one guy's, you know, that you speak to people who are taxi drivers, and they're saying the same. They've been in this country for 15 years, 10 years. The guy along for where I stays, from the owns a Turkish barbers that I go to, and he says the same. He says, if you know, started seeing there's a lot more people starting. So there's a concern from people, and that's the thing. What I said to the security guard as well, and this is where I really don't want it to go, and I really hope it doesn't go this way. But I said to him, I said, my worry is, mate, that people are going to start to look at you funny and start to say, how did he get here and where did you come from? And then it can start to possibly become racism. And I don't want that at all. None of us want that. And that's why I think that these communities and people, even that community, need to start banding together to actually say, hold on, we stand with you guys. We want to know where these guys are coming from. We want to understand this as well. So I'm worried about that. That's my main worry. But Peterhead was brilliant. I just went up there and bumped my gums as I done. But what I witnessed in Aberdeen, a bit different. I mean, I don't know, Craig, you want to show that video of that young lassie?
Aye, what I was going to do, right, there's 3 things I wanted to talk about. I wanted to talk about Peterhead, Aberdeen, and the rest of the UK, and then, you know, talk about your video and stuff like that. But you 3 can talk. I thought I could talk. We're only in the first part, and we're 29 minutes in. So I'm conscious that Watchbam Scotland's sitting there patiently to come up and tell us what his concerns are and what he's wanting to say. So I'm going to bring Watchbam in just now, hear what his point is, and then we'll go back onto the stuff. Okay. So Watchbam, the rules are, you start saying, Houston, we have a problem. Tell us what your problem is, and the floor's yours.
Houston, we have a problem.
How you doing, mate?
Hello, Craig. How you doing, buddy?
Very well, thank you.
I've met you before. Just something dawned on me just the other day. Craig, I'm always watching all these things, what's happening. I've been at a few protests, and I missed the one, yesterday on Peterhead, which I was wanting to go to, but I had to go to work. So I just wanted to say, mate, what I just noticed is the whole when we're protesting and we get these people protesting against us, it's like, realistically to me, mate, it seems like the working class be the middle class. Because I seen all these clowns getting nicked in London, all the retired doctors and all that, all middle class. Many retired doctors you think we've got on our side. You know, they might have a few that actually think like us, but they're not out in the streets. They're all out in the streets because the doctors are all middle class people themselves. So it seems to me it's very much the middle class be the working class here, mate.
Aye, and I'm agreeing with what you're saying, right? And I'm just thinking this through logically, right? Is that because it's a them and us and it's a class thing? Or,
absolutely.
But here's another thing it might be, mate. See what Stevie was telling us about people getting threatened with their jobs and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Is it that there maybe is a load of working middle class people that feel the same as us, but because they're in positions where they might be managers in civil service or doctors in hospitals where we've already seen the NHS staff being threatened, you know, maybe guys that are professors in universities could feel the same as us, but the way universities are, they would just be really uncomfortable with talking out. People in the legal profession, stuff like that. Could it be that there are people, middle class, that agree with us, but just can't do what we do because we just generally don't give a toss? And, you know, I don't have an employer.
I would agree with that, Craig. If you go back to the COVID days, especially regarding what I talk about regarding the harms of the Jags, the doctors can't talk out regarding that. Nurses couldn't talk out. If they did talk out, they lost their job. There's plenty of nurses that had to walk away from their job because, number one, they didn't want to take it. Number two, if they spoke out regarding the harms, they lost their license. So I would probably, and then if you take what Stevie said earlier on, the NHS were telling people, anyone that attended these protests. So it's they're locking people into a system of silence. But if you think about it, you lose your job, you're stuck into a mortgage, you can't afford that job, you can't afford to lose it. The amount of people have said to me, John, I'd love to do what you do, but I can't because I just can't afford to lose my job. So I would probably tend to agree with what Craig said there, to be honest.
Listen, I agree with you both, guys. That's a good point. But still, we know the majority of the anti, the pro-migration people, they're for the nice parts of Glasgow. Right?
They're
low for the schemes. They're low for the schemes.
Yeah,
I know people for the schemes. I know what people for the schemes look like and act like and talk like. And we're the schemes people. They're low.
And that's theorized. I've said this for a long time. Like, it's just people are not getting up, and I understand that, you know, protests, not everybody can see them, but it has. We don't have the media on our side. The media is just totally radio silent with these things. I was speaking to Craig earlier on, and when I look at these people that are, and I hope this doesn't sound terrible, but I'm just going to tell it like it is. It's more like a cult-like behaviour. It doesn't matter what they can be wrong, but they just won't admit it. And I'm watching and I'm going, this is like the misfits all came together, and it hasn't become a protest anymore. It's became a day out to these people.
That's exactly what it is.
What we do is we're doing it for the change, to make people aware of what's going on. They're not doing it for that. And if I'm being honest with you, every single one of them around the country, same banners, same chants, same everything. So I'm going to call it. I'm pretty sure these people are government funded.
That's exactly what it is, John. It's a misfits via norms. We're in norms. We're out working with our wains, struggling to get hussies, struggling for everything. And they're either kids of middle class or they're middle class themselves, mate. Even if they're no middle class, they're better than the normal punters. I'm just saying there's definitely two sides to this thing that's happening, and we know they're funded.
Sorry, Craig, but if you fast forward to the part where Craig, if you brought that up, see with the lassie that Craig brought on the stage, right?
Crackpot.
Yeah.
If you hear what she said, right? Yeah. She said everything that we all agreed with, but she came at the end and says it's the white man that's the problem, right? Now, in my opinion, I would say there seems to be something against men that's going on right now like this. We don't want men to be men anymore. Men are being scared. I've spoken to Jim, so is Big Craig. People are getting put in jail for, they're not getting fair crimes. Now, when you're sitting telling people on a stage it's the white man that's the problem, that's madness to say that. I mean, I don't know if you've got that video, Craig, but that was like, you were doing so well, sweetheart, until you turned around and said that. She was like, I'm against fascism, racism, and something else, and we're like, we all agree, but you just hate us.
Well, I think where I am with Watchman's point is, I totally agree with you. By the way, isn't it weird that you could probably slice it down the middle and say normal people, slightly posher people, or really posh people there, right? So I kind of think, and then what I was saying is, could it be that we've got people that I know people that we would term possibly upper class who agree with me, because a lot of people come and tell me I love your videos, I watch your videos and all that stuff. But they're not out protesting, and it might just be where their place is in society. But I think where my head is right now, and I could be wrong, you're probably right that the vast majority of us are of similar mind, and the vast majority of middle and upper class are of a slightly different mind. But that doesn't mean there's nobody in there but that are the same as us. So, and maybe the reason you don't hear them is because they go, well, I can't really do this because I've got a pharmacist company and I rely on the NHS, so I'm just going to let Craig and John go and shout abuse at folk when they're up at Peterhead,
Yeah.
I kind of think that's what it might be. But listen, mate, thanks for a great question, great point. And I thank you for coming in. We're getting a queue now. I get a wee beep every time somebody comes into the green room and we've got a queue now. So this thing that we've been trying to do and encourage people to come in and talk, it was a wee bit hard to start with, and eventually, we're getting 3 to 5 every night now. It's great. So thanks very much, mate, and I'd welcome you back anytime you're in, and you see we're doing a call show to pop back
well
in.
done, big
Thanks
man.
very much, mate.
Yeah, keep the faith.
Thank you, buddy. Cheers, mate. Right, I've got a man who's known to many, who is I'd invited on to come in as a guest for the show, but hey, he's late and he looks as if I'm watching his camera now. It looks as if he's in McDonald's picking up an order or something, right? So I'll wait a wee minute before bringing in one of our normal guests. But I've got another person lined up, and I'm kind of shitting myself because this one says Monty Senior, and I don't think it is. I think it's Monty, who's been on a few times before, and he knows the script and how to introduce himself when he comes up. So, Monty Senior, the stage is yours.
Houston, we have a problem.
It's Monty.
It's Monty. Now, the reason why I had to change my handle, mate, is because there is another Monty on the YouTube, and I don't want you to think that young guy's getting into deep with me, right?
Right.
Listen, I watched your Peterhead protest now twice today.
All right.
I thought it was incredibly powerful. I thought it was incredibly interesting, but it was the call to action, right? And I think your man, is it James? I'm sorry, that guy in the corner. I'm sorry, right? The guy that was saying about how you would lose your job if you actually started to go and do our thing.
Yeah.
Right. And I do want to, and you're saying the call to action is like, go and stand in council, council elections, go and stand for election, go and do what you did. You said it yourself 18 months ago, you weren't really that interested in politics.
Yeah.
And now you're standing for election in Holyrood. Now, my thing's all about the CO2 and all that, right? And I want to be, when you're First Minister, I want to be your Energy Minister. So I'm putting my CV in here right?
He's no point in selling on, is he?
But it's the call to action. So how do we do this, right? How do we do the call to action? Because, look, it's pretty freaking obvious that we all feel the same, right?
Listen, I'll tell you my view on it, Monty, and I've said this a lot of times in spaces, and I'm kind of fortunate that I'm a bit daft, right? I wouldn't say I'm stupid. I'm semi-intelligent, but I'm daft. I don't care. There's many things that I just go, bugger it, I'm doing that anyway, how ridiculous it may seem. And so I kind of get that a lot of people to expect a lot of people to do what I've done and go for a guy that didn't care about politics in 18 to 24 months to turn into being the leader of a political party in Scotland and standing for election is pretty bonkers, right? But that doesn't mean that others can't do it. Yes. And if that's not something they can do and they still want to help change, then do what Kevin's doing. Kevin said for a year now, Craig, I want to back you. Now I can go out and chap doors and put leaflets down, so see, I'll do that, right? So he's helping me, okay? And so people that can't be the guy at the front, then that's fine. It's not for everybody. They'll support that person that you've found in your community that's got the same sort of values and views as you, and just make it happen. And if you can't even do that, you can do things in social media, you can put posters out, you can just help drive the thing so we get, as Watchbam was saying, we've got a split with the people that are, counter-protesting, probably demographically and what do you call it, class, right? And then there's us, right? The rump, right? And we need more of us. We need more of us in politics.
Agreed.
And what we need to do to get there, we keep protesting, we keep driving the message, so people on the anti-protest and on the anti-politics will eventually hear it.
Yep.
And what I said in Peterhead as well is people feel as if they've got no hope. It's great when they see other people giving them hope. So we need to do that to keep people feeling hopeful that there's an end result, and we need to drive them and inspire them to go and get up off their arse and do something else, because these people will no vote themselves out, right? Correct. They'll no stop being arses. They'll no stop taking bungs. They'll no stop getting led by the WEF and all these EUs and United Nations and all these people that influence them, and they'll no stop that. So we need to change the people, and we can only change the people by putting normal people in. So keep the protesting going. Talk about the issues. Talk about politics. Make people give a toss. Make people vote. The biggest party in the history of the UK right now is none of the above, because there's more people no voted than any parties received in votes. Right? That's bonkers when you think about it. So we need to do all this. And if 10 people tell 10 people, then we might just sort this shit out, mate.
Yeah, correct. And listen, well, but I think not only do I keep sharing your videos and whatnot, but what I'm trying to say though is that your call to action about signing up for getting involved in politics, and you offered that you would give people advice. You don't need to join your party. Is there a way we can talk about that? Is there something that we can?
Aye, and what I've said to people,
I'm hearing what you're saying is what I'm saying.
Aye. Well, do you know, I said to people, and a few people came and spoke to me at the event when I finished speaking, and I said, look, contact me on Twitter originally, right, and we'll get the stuff going. But the more I'm thinking, because there are some people, there's probably about half a dozen to 10 folk came and asked me about it, and I'm actually thinking out loud, probably to put a Houston may have a problem solely on that.
And
just say, look, we're covering this night, we're going to talk about people that want to get involved in politics. Where do you start, right? And if Basil's just popped into the green room, I'll bring him up in a minute. But he would be a great person to maybe host that, because he's far more politically knowledgeable than me, right? And just and try and infuse people. And for that, listen, I remember there was a guy that was a Reform candidate at the last election, and he came into one of Basil's spaces on Twitter, and he was like, I've decided to stand for election, right? And he said, and the inspiration was Craig Houston. And I was like, I can't remember inspiring anybody, but I don't know what it was. But and you think, well, that's brilliant. He was standing for Reform, who I don't quite, I don't like them, but that kind of isn't the point. That was a normal guy who just went, bugger this, I'm doing something. And Big Craig's gave me an inspiration. So,
love it.
Aye, that was brilliant. So I will maybe do that going forward, Monty. That's
a good idea, buddy. I would love to do that, because I'm really interested in doing this, and I think that given the size of your audience now, we could probably get a lot of people that might be interested, and maybe push this in different areas that are not just your constituency. I'd love to talk to you about that. I would love to talk to you about that.
Well, let's do that. Maybe in the next couple of months, mate. We'll get a politics one. All right.
I want to do the outro. I want to do the outro.
All right. Well, I'll tell you what, Monty. You phone back in right in about half an hour, right? We'll do a kiddie on one now. What do you want to do? Do you want to call back in or do a kiddie on one now?
I'll do a real one and out, and then I'll call back in half an hour because you know I'm going
Oh,
to
you
do
want to do it
it
twice? You want to do it twice? Oh, you're a wido. Right, ladies and gentlemen, thanks for everybody listening to the show. And unless you are one of these idiots on the far left, probably for a nicer bit of town than me, and go out every Saturday making an arse of yourself shouting stupid things, then not you. But everyone else, have a great day.
Cherry bye now. Great. I'll get back to YouTube, mate. I'll catch you over there, right?
Everybody's amazing. Everybody's cut out now. They went, that's the show finished, right?
Oh, that's what's finished. No.
We're out of here.
Stay tuned.
Right, you'll see us when we're getting to the end and pop back in. Monty, you can do it for real, right?
Right, no worries.
Take care. Alex, how the devil are you?
I'm all right, mate. How are you?
I saw a beautiful video the other day up a mountain somewhere.
All right.
Where were you?
I wasn't up a mountain today. I was driving up for London this morning. I drove up.
Was it an old video?
I'm just deleting stuff, and if you stick it on, it gets to stay there. I'm clearing my phone, mate. I've got no memory left in a 1 terabyte phone.
Oh, wow. That's some serious business you're doing with that.
Either that or it's a load of shite, one of the two.
So, are you not home yet?
I'm home, mate, aye. I got back this morning.
You've been busy? No, I've got Baz. I brought Basil in, sorry. Aye. So, how's things been for you, Alex?
Good.
You're looking very serious. I've got a funny feeling you've got something in your mind.
I've always got something in my mind. You going to Falkirk on Saturday?
Me? I was kind of wanting to, and then I was looking into my diary today, and I've got a thing arranged with the boys, Sean. What's Sean's second name, John? You know him as well. In fact, you were on his show, Alex.
Sean Toll.
Aye, I've got but we booked it like a month ago. We put the time by, so I didn't realise today, and I was in my diary doing something else. Like, shit, I've got that one. But what do you want to do?
Nothing. I'm going to Falkirk. I'm just wondering who's going to be there.
I'm going to try and make it if I can.
We're going to try and come as well.
I spoke about the cladding last year, maybe a year ago. It's always been there. This isn't new.
Yeah.
You know, it's took a bit of time to drum up some. I'm just thinking off the back of Peterhead, it's a good time for momentum. People that went to Peterhead, you know, that felt like they took part in something serious are much more liable to jump on board with something straight off the back of it. If you give it months and you let it all quieten down again, these people fall away. So you've built an audience there at Peterhead, and anyone that didn't make Peterhead that's for the Central Belt is also much more likely to turn up. So it's another good place for engagement and getting the awareness raised. That's it.
Yeah, get out there, get about it. It's basically the message, isn't it, Alex?
It's quite important. There's a lot going on in the Falkirk area, and there's a lot of stuff that's never made the media. And I'm thinking, obviously you can't come if you've booked Sean in, right? That's perfectly fine. But if you're there, John, or if anyone's there that can grab the content in a way that Houston can, you know, use it and work with it, do something with it. You're gonna get some content at Falkirk. I know quite a lot about things that's been happening out there. There's going to be a lot of people that want to talk, that want their voices to be heard.
All you do is you go there and just be honest, do a bit of honest journalism. The thing is, like yesterday, see Peterhead, even though we're speaking in that, Alex, right? So we went to the one in Aberdeen, met Craig and that, right? Now, see, when I got there, I was sitting there and I was like, oh, I'm here. I told the police, I says, I'm just here to do a bit of honest journalism. So I says, it's to make it not look biased, I want to go over to the other side and interview them. You can ask Craig because he filmed it, right? So I said to the police, and they went, who are you with? I went, I'm with nobody. I'm right down the middle right now. I says, I'm here to ask them questions and ask them questions. And I went over and the police were on you go, and they just stood round me, didn't they? They weren't letting me pass. I'm not speaking to you. And I says, do you know how unbiased my channel is going to look if I'm not getting an answer for you, get an understanding, ask you some questions, and I'm just going to get one-sided? And, you know, so the whole point in going is just ask questions and they give you the answers, and you know that's how I'll kind of roll. So Falkirk, go down there, and again, the mainstream media aren't going to cover it, are they? So I'll just go down and try and do it.
I'm going to come down and show support. Obviously, I don't deal with you guys, so but I'm still going to turn up just to show a bit of support. Falkirk, I was born in Falkirk. I've still got mates down in Grangemouth, so I think it's important that people do turn up, even if it's just to show support for that. Mm-hmm. So I'll be definitely doing it anyway.
Well, Basil's come into the room and I'm raging because I thought I was doing all right on the Twitter account now, and he's beaten me already, and he's only put it up about 3 minutes ago. So that just shows you his value in Twitter compared to mine. And Basil, I think it's quite bizarre the timing, because we were talking about Falkirk there, and Alex was a good drive to get people to go to Falkirk. You posted something today about the Falkirk protest, which is just mental. It tells you all you need to know about politics just now. So, do you want to share your post?
Yeah, I just wanted to first off say, by the way, guys, great speeches. And obviously, I've seen Kev's footage as well, and I shared it, Kevin. Honestly, mate, it was brilliant. So, I was really proud of all of you. So well done, by the way. I know myself, it's not easy doing that kind of thing, and it can all go wrong. And even though Craig at some point, for some reason, decided to let one of the counter protesters get on stage, where it literally could have all went wrong, I thought it was great. And I wish you all the best for Falkirk. I mean, obviously the idea is that you're showing that this is not just in one part of the country; it's all over the country, right? So it goes to show that this is affecting everybody. And it's important that people realise that this is not in London, this is not in the south of England, this is not in Wales, this is everywhere. This is literally everywhere. Everyone is affected by this stuff. So the best thing people like me can do is just kind of put out as much of it as possible to let people know it's everywhere. And obviously you guys are the ones who are doing it. So hats off to every one of you, and thank you very much. I really appreciate the work you're doing.
Thank you. Appreciated. Now, we've got a caller coming in, Alan Wilson, been very patient there. I think he must have come in about the same time as Basil, and I've only heard the one beep. So, Alan, there's a dead simple rule for callers. Just come in, tell us who's going to have a problem, and tell us what your problems are, and the floor is yours.
Houston, we have a problem.
I love this. This is crazy.
All right, Alan, Barry, how's it going?
What's happening, lads? Hey, pleasure to meet you yesterday, man.
The what? Sorry, my ears are not working properly. It's a bit crackly.
Pleasure to meet you guys yesterday.
You too, mate.
Well, thanks for coming, Alan, because if nobody turned up, it would have been quite lonely hanging about a stage with these four crackpots, right? So...
hey, we still would have got the message.
Alan and Barry, I'd say they're part of the team. Alan's the original organiser. Barry was our PA guy yesterday.
Yeah.
Cracking jobs, like.
Yeah. Did you throw somebody off the stage when I was talking that I didn't notice until I was watching the video back?
Oh.
I did. I threw that wifey off the stage.
Oh, it was your mate as well.
She was just a bomb pot. Didn't worry about her.
I need to hear this, Matthews, because you don't find this funny because you were there, right? And there's still this sort of, we don't know who we're going to unveil Kevin at one point to the public, right? But it's not going to be today. And somebody messaged me, I think it was in here before the programme even started, and it was that Kevin in the red tracksuit? No, that wasn't Kevin. That wasn't Kevin. So,
no,
did you enjoy it?
That was my mate. It was funny. I'll tell you a story about my mate with the red tracksuit on demo. He's called Mad Phil. My wifey's approached him and said, "What's the reason for you wearing a red tracksuit today?" He turned around and he says, "Because it's the colour of the rainbow."
What? You're joking? He picked a colour that's in the rainbow. That must be quite hard to do when you open your wardrobe.
Exactly. Well, his wardrobe is like a rainbow, I'll tell you. Yeah. It's not called Mad Phil from I think he's brilliant. Love a boy to bits, man.
That's brilliant, mate. Well, listen, thanks for your efforts both yesterday, because when you're the guy that's standing at the front, and there's a couple of three of us were, and you've got the mic, it's easy for folk to give you plaudits and thanks and stuff like that. But if the people pressing the buttons in the background and doing the graph in the background don't do that, then the whole thing doesn't work. So what you guys do behind the mic is, and behind the scenes is as important, if not more important, than the ones at the front that everybody wants to shake hands and get selfies with when it's finished. So it's much appreciated, and thank you very much for all your efforts.
No, hey, thank you guys for coming up there. Where you fairly got Peter he talking new like that.
Good. Well, that's what it was all about. So
even the local paper, the Press and Journal, approached me and he's like, "Oh, are you the organizer?" I said, "Well, I am one of the organisers." He says, "Oh, would you like to say a few words?" I was like, "I've gone here, walked through the crowd and took some photos."
I beat it. Brilliant. Well, what I was wanting to talk about was three things, and the first thing was obviously Peterhead. So we've sort of done that. And what I want to move on to now is after Peterhead, we the majority, I think we all did. We all ended up in Aberdeen because most of us were driving south, and it seemed logical to go and give a bit of support in there. So who wants to talk about Aberdeen first and what we saw and what we witnessed in Aberdeen?
Just quickly, Husty, the fella there that said he spoke to the Press and Journal, don't nominate yourself as the organiser, mate. Don't do that.
Okay, right, okay, cool.
Right, just protect yourself. Because if anything occurs at an event, you're the very guy they're going to come to.
Aye, good shout.
Right.
And then they're going to target you. So don't ever nominate yourself as an organiser.
Right, good shout.
Just say you're there as a collective.
No. I'll just say it's Stephen Rennie's the organiser the next time, Alan. Keep yourself safe.
Hey, he said it worse than what I have been at. I don't know how he's managed. I don't know how he's managed to survive 3 months.
Even better, just tell him you're Kevin the Ranter. Because nobody knows who he is anyway.
I'll just take the blame. Fuck it.
Oh, I've just realised.
But big shout out to Steve. Big shout out to Stephen because he was a backbone of our like that. You know, he got in contact with you guys. You guys spread the word. You know, we was just there to help, be back up, get on our sorted that he couldn't do. Yeah, team effort. And for four guys to organise a protest that's never ever been done before, like it's just amazing. Honestly, amazing.
Imagine how good your next one's going to be.
Exactly.
Right, so Aberdeen. Who's want to talk about Aberdeen, what we saw down there?
I'll keep my mouth shut.
Keep your mouth shut. And see until that thing blows over, you'd probably better keep your face hidden as well. Oh, it was hilarious. Oh, Kev, you gave me some laughs on Saturday, so you did. And the vast majority of them were in that sort of a couple of hours we were in Aberdeen. I think your heart rate was higher in Aberdeen, having conversations, should we say, with counter protesters than John's was when he came off the stage. Oh,
can I jump in there? I wanted to actually ask. I didn't know what you were going to talk about, so I wrote some questions down because I was going to ask you a question. But I did have a question for Kev on that. I was going to ask Kev, when I saw that woman get up on the stage, right? I instantly thought it would be amazing because I've seen your journey on Twitter and how you've talked about politics and all the rest of it, and I thought it would be fascinating to get one of those, not necessarily her, but a counter protester and you to just have a civil conversation. And what I was thinking was, and also what I want to ask you is, what would you say to someone like her if it was like a polite conversation, a genuine, not ranting, but what would you actually try to say to her to try and open her eyes a bit?
I see, to be honest with you, mate, I'm at a loss with these people. What I witnessed in Aberdeen yesterday, I genuinely, I'm even more confused by them. I seriously am. I don't even think these people know what they're there to protest about. I mean, you're meant to be outside a hotel to be protesting for the people that are in that hotel to be here. Yet you're not even covering that subject. You're shouting chants in Arabic. You're shouting, "We're more Scottish than you," and you've not even got a Scottish flag flying. You've got a big massive banner with "Free Palestine" right across the front. I mean, and then you've got they're shouting for trans rights, and my head was bursting. I didn't get this. I mean, I'm only new to this, and I'm trying to find my way into this. I'm trying to get a wee bit more active rather than just be a gobby guy on X. I want to try and do a bit more and help out a wee bit more. But I mean, when you're faced with these absolute lunatics, I mean, that woman shouting yesterday about, oh, it's white men that's causing rapes. Well, I understand that. I get that point. I mean, I follow Alex Kearney. I see Alex Kearney every day. He puts it sign out every day. There are white people there. There's other demographics as well. But these people just don't get into their head. They're important more in. The statistics are there. They're evident. They're all clear for you to see. I mean, how many times do I need to keep telling them about Glasgow? 4,000 illegal men. Sexual assaults up by 41%. And a woman reports an alleged rape every 2 hours. And that's since they moved 4,000 of them in there. I mean, just give your head a shake, man. Go and read into things first. Do you know what I mean? It was infuriating. I don't even know how I could keep it. I couldn't have a conversation with these people because I can't keep calm with them because they're ruining my country because they're standing up for everything that's wrong and they think they're right. But we're all racist. We're all far right. I mean, that's no right. None of us are far right and none of us are racist. I mean, Alec was sent Ryan H up yesterday because Alec couldn't talk yesterday. And there's Ryan H doing his first talk, right? God bless him. He was up there and he was giving out facts, he was giving out figures, nothing about colour of skin, nothing about demographic, just about the stats of the rapes and the paedophilia in our country. And he's getting called a racist and a far-right thug. I mean, honestly, have a day off. Just have a day off. There's Zoomers.
So the long and short of it, to answer Basil's question, is you couldn't have a conversation with them.
Couldn't, mate. No, you're absolutely. I've not got the same control as you guys.
I actually did have a conversation with one of them.
I'll come to that. Aye. No, that you were going to come to. Sorry, aye. You had a conversation up in Peterhead, didn't you, with one?
Aye. So there was 4 of them leaving the protest, and I actually had a conversation with them. It was the one that jumped on the stage with you, Craig. To be honest with you, she's programmed different, if I'm being honest with you.
Can I ask, John, is it right that she was the woman who wrote that stupid pamphlet about you guys? Is that her?
I couldn't tell you.
There was a suggestion, but we can't confirm it at this point.
I don't know. I don't care. It didn't really gain any traction anyway. But when I spoke to her, it was kind of like, you do know that what you're saying I can agree with, but you're over there, and it's just the whole usual, there's people that can't get into this country, there's no legal avenue, and I'm like, well, there kind of is, and she's like, well, why are you attending far-right protests, like the one in Peterhead this morning? I says, right, you're going to read the leaflet and tell me what was far-right about that protest. And she's like, I said, did you hear even what I said, right? And obviously my stuff's always speaking about what got me into politics, if you want to call it. Like, for me, there's no politics anymore. They all have a plan, and they're all just, that's what they have to do. They have to go here, 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 and the plan is to what's to come. But when I was speaking to her, she just didn't want to listen, to be honest with you. I told her, I said, did you hear what I said in my speech? She went, yeah. And I went, well, going to tell me? And then she couldn't tell me. And I says, you do know that I spoke about me being harmed by the Jag? And when I told her it was harmed by the Jag, she says, so you're all about anti-vaccine stuff? So you're an anti-vaxxer? And I went, do you understand that? No, I'm not. I said, do you understand that I says that I took 3 of them? And then so this is the best part, our wee pal to the right-hand side turned around to me and went, I am an anti-vaxxer, right? And I went, oh, so this got interesting, right? So I said, you understand that everything that's getting played out right now is kind of part of the plan, and them demoing against people that have got concerns is just a divide and conquer tactic. And she went, aye. So I said, why are you standing over there with them, right? And I said, you know that her there will call you a conspiracy theorist and all that? And she went, aye. She went, I'm against WEF, WHO, Bill Gates and that, and I went like, oh, I says, well, that's interesting because so am I. So I says, so how do you feel standing next to people that clearly they wouldn't be accepted in most countries, but not only that, with people that claim there's 72 odd bloody genders, and they didn't want to answer that point, they're kind of like, we need to go. And I said, well, do you understand how muddy the water is with all this? The divide and conquer. I've said it for day one, divide and conquer. And there is no debating with them because I've said this for a long time. The problem with society is that people just don't want to admit when they get it wrong.
Correct.
People don't want to admit, like, with the Jag, with things that are coming, when people say things are conspiracy theories, but then they're coming true, and it's like they're just programmed to say, you know what, I don't want to admit that guy that's been screaming about that is right. But that's the problem with society. People just need to understand that we're all getting played. All of us are getting played. That we're all pawns in their game, and that's the problem. And more people are starting to come to this way of thinking.
If it's all right, I haven't got long, guys. I'm going to scoop, but I just want to ask one more question. And obviously, it was aimed at John and Craig, but obviously, if you guys want to jump in as well, feel free. I thought it was marvellous when I saw in Northern Ireland last year, in particular, and I'm sure it will happen this year again if there's any protests. You see Republican and British flags together, right, united in a common interest to save their communities. And I know Craig's got a lot of watchers and listeners, and that certainly I do, who are watching now through the live, who are in England, right, and we don't get to see a lot of what goes on in Scotland with Scottish politics. And I was just wondering, as I remember correctly, John, you were on the opposite side of the debate when the independence thing happened to Craig at the time, and I was just wondering, has things changed now where people are putting aside that issue and focusing on kind of the immediate danger, or is that still a nasty thorn in the side of everyone?
I think it's interesting you say that, because I put it on Facebook, and actually a guy I know is actually going after me saying, if you want independence, John, then why would you be sharing a stage with these guys, right? Because there's a Union Jack there and stuff. And I'm sitting there going, this is not about independence, right? The fact of the matter is, if there was an independence vote for tomorrow, would I vote for it? Now, Craig's Rangers and Celtic, right? That's two sides of a coin that should never ever be on the same platform. And to be honest with you, and I'm sitting saying to this person, and they're like, we need independence. And I'm like, can we just stop talking about independence for 5 minutes? We don't have a date for it. We're not going to get it. It's a dangling dead carrot that the SNP, all these people are dangling to keep you in this mindset that we are going to get independence. It's just it's not going to happen because, again, I mean, Craig, you went down and started seeing things. When you know the policies, we're not governed by the people we think we're governed by. We're governed by these WEF and WHO. So for me, it's the hardest thing is, Basil, there's so many divides in Scotland, especially Glasgow. The two football teams that me and Craig support is a massive one. So that one side they're going to want to pick Palestine, that other side they're going to pick the Union Jack. And then you've got the independents and the unionists. So they played a blinder to make everybody, and me and Craig were talking about this earlier on. The Union Jack to me is just a piece of cloth. If you spoke to me, I don't know, 5 years ago, 6 years ago, if I would stand next to someone with a Union Jack, there's not a chance in hell I would. But see, right now, this is a collective. This isn't just happening in the UK. These are problems that are global problems. So unfortunately, we are globally all have to come in together because in all these countries that we're all having to band together until we have an honest politician that will run my country correctly, until we have a date for independence, that is a topic to be discussed. But unfortunately, we can't talk about it. So it's a dead conversation to me. That's where I'm at. And I'm trying to get people to understand they're playing people for fools by using this independence and all that. So where I'm at, Basil, there's nobody for me to vote for apart from big man there. Do you know what I mean?
Same here. we can't go for independence until we get the government and all the bombs out that, and then we've got people governing the people. That's the only way it's got to happen, in my opinion.
The thing is as well, let's be straight here. People might sit there and say, oh, that Keir Starmer's an idiot. Keir Starmer is not an idiot. That man's clever as they come. And I'm being serious. That man's strings are being pulled by other people and other policies. That is just fact.
Definitely.
100% fact. That man's policies are the same policies by all these other governments.
Craig, how do you say that? And things have changed from like a unionist perspective. Has it been put aside at all, or is it still,
Well, listen, nobody asked anybody their politics on that stage, but we had Pala Johns went up and was clearly a separatist, wants an independent Scotland. But it kind of doesn't matter because we're nowhere near that. We're nowhere near that question being in front of us anymore. So if you, and like this is what I was trying to say to the women for the left as well, in reality, if you agree with everything we say, but you just kind of think I might be a racist, then why are you not standing beside us shouting these things out? Now, if you don't want to share a stage because you think I'm a racist, then just don't come to the protest. But what you're doing is total bonkers to me. You're standing at the other side of an area counter-protesting against me when you say you agree with 99% of you. Now, I was talking to somebody about this when we got to Aberdeen, and I said to them, do you know there was people on that stage that I had less in common with than that woman that tells me I'm a racist? And one of the biggest ones of that was John's pal, that's the nationalist. That's quite a big thing for me. So she agreed with me with a lot of things. I don't know where she stood in the constitutional question of Scotland, but it's probably likely that I shared a stage with people that I've got less in common with than that woman who was standing opposing me. And that whole thing's just bonkers and bizarre. But to get back to your thing, there was something quite surreal happened when we were down in Aberdeen. And I just thought, that tells you where it is, right? Now, it does connect football again. And I've seen a lot of scary things at football matches, especially in the mid-80s when I was a teenager and I used to go to all the away games in the bus with all the daft pals, right? And the two most frightening places I'd seen scary things was going to watch your team play away to Celtic and go to watch your team play away to Aberdeen, right? It was naughty, proper naughty. So bear that in mind. So at one point up in Aberdeen, we're standing across the road from the gun platoon, who at this point started putting like music through a speaker. And I can't remember what the tune was, but it was one of the tunes that football fans sing their own words to. So it came on and I'm not going to dance, right? And I'm just having a laugh. And I started singing the Rangers words to this song. And the guy next to me was singing the Aberdeen team's words to that song. And the guy next to him was Kevin, who wasn't singing anything, but one was a mad Celtic fan, right? And I was like, how mental's this world became? Because that's probably three people that obviously where football was big and important to us, that probably wouldn't have stood in the same postcode before. We're actually standing there against something else because that is actually bigger and more important. And that's hard to say for somebody that's done so much, and lost so much due to his football club as I have 10 years ago. But it is. That's the reality of it. And I'm not saying football's suddenly not important. Football's a massive sport because of the social things it has. And it's a great thing, football. Playing football, being into football, watching football. It's got a lot of things going for it. But this is bigger. And again, when I went down to London 4 weeks ago, I had the Football Lads Alliance. And I shared, a space with guys who, a lot of them were football hooligans back in the day. And I got to know what teams they were. And I thought these guys could not have stood in the same postcode 5-10 years ago. But they were standing united for the safety of our kids. So that was quite prophetic, is that the right word? For me, that thing that happened in a split second in Aberdeen, because it made me realise, and I kind of knew it anyway, but it just kind of cemented it that it is bigger. And even the politics now, it's getting to the point where I genuinely don't care if I'm standing on stage. And I've done it on Saturday. I've knowingly done it. And I don't care about it. You know, I shared a stage with a guy who openly said, I want an independent Scotland. Well, that's fine. But he also wants less immigration. He also wants our kids educated the right way. He also doesn't want us to be sticking jags in people and locking us down and all these things. So that's what the protest was doing. We're only having a debate or a protest about Scotland being in the Union or Scotland being independent. So it kind of didn't matter. And I kind of think that's what I've been saying about Hollywood all along as well. We've got to kind of just say politics. Let's get on with making Scotland a bit better. And you know, the independence question can be dealt with 5 or 10 years up the line if it has to at all. But right now, Scotland's in a shithole because of 17 going on 18 years of abuse by the SNP. But we kind of need to get grown-ups in the room and say, right, see that independence thing? Going to just shut up now. Just for 5 years, for one cycle of this parliament, shut up and let's fix some stuff.
It's people that don't. If I'm being honest with you, I just because I didn't know politics or anything before, and I still don't claim that I know everything about politics. I just kind of like use critical thinking and a bit of common sense. But I was in that mindset, independence and all that, and I used to just rhyme off what the mainstream media were saying. When I went to the independence rally to interview people, right, it was just the same crap and stuff. It was still like that same pattern of but we need independence just because we're going to be better and we're colonised and all that, blah, 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 all that kind of stuff. And I'm like, right, so even though the SNP's done this and Albert's not really doing much, but the rest of them, it doesn't matter. We just need independence. It's like, so we're just going to take independence. It doesn't matter, and that's it. But people who have kind of woken up since COVID and what Sturgeon done during COVID have went, no, there's not a chance in hell that I'm going to vote for SNP. But my worry is that, and this is my prediction, and this is what I think that the SNP are deliberately looking stupid, which they are, and they're failing deliberately so that in 2026 it's a complete Labour takeover. And I predicted with Starmer, you know, I done a podcast with a guy a year ago and he says Starmer's going to be worse. And the reason I know he's worse is because he's already told us he's part of Davos and all that carry on. So I already could predict all we done was have a substitute between Rishi Sunak and Starmer. Starmer just continued what Sunak was going to do anyway. So for me, the people are wanting independence, but they'll vote for the next one. And in my opinion, it could be Labour. And if it's a Labour complete takeover, that's when I said that this will get ramped up, everything that's going to come, and it's frightening. And the Hamilton by-election kind of proved to me that either it's, I don't know if it's fixed or not, I don't want to say too much, but I thought that Reform might have had a chance there. Not that I would vote for them either, but you know, the by-election kind of told me that Labour have got the majority of the vote, I think, just now.
Yeah. Listen, I've got to go, guys. I just want to say a big thank you again to all of you for doing it. And Steve, John, Kev, Craig, I know Alex isn't there, but thank you very much, guys, for doing this. Keep up the good work. I'll leave the stream running, so if people watching it on my X, they can still watch it all the way to the end. But I've got to go for now, so catch you later, guys. Bye-bye.
There's only 1,100 watching in your streaming now, Basil.
I know. You're beating GB News again. Well done.
Basil, sorry, before you go, Basil, thank you very much, because you've shared our protest a couple of times, and a guy with an account as big as yours has been extremely helpful. So thank you very much.
The honour is mine, mate. No problem at all. Thank you very much. Keep the good work, guys. Bye-bye.
Hey, Basil. Take care, mate. Right, I've put this comment up on the screen because I was flicking through the comments just to see if we'd missed any questions. There's been a massive amount of comments today, and some idiotic ones, I need to be honest with you, that I've started deleting. But this one, and this is something that I've spoke about the last few weeks, right? I think we are the first generation in the modern history of the United Kingdom that's going to hand over the country, possibly in a worse situation than we received it in for our forefathers and forefathers. Our grandparents and great-grandparents, depending on the age of us, put a life in stake in 1939 onwards to make sure that their children had a better future, free of what we get accused of as fascism. And each generation since is you know, handed over the baton with the country in a bit of a better position than it is before. And I genuinely think we are the first that could be putting our kids and grandkids into a worse Britain. And that breaks my heart. It feels as if we've failed. And it probably helped subconsciously. I knew it, but I just hadn't appreciated it before. That probably led to me being as vocal and standing up and saying, bugger it, I'll stand for election and see what happens here. And seeing that young boy, Thomas McFadden, write that, it's actually breaking my heart. He's 17. I'm scared for my future in this country. That is what, sorry?
It's a teenager writing that. It's scary, isn't it?
Horrible. Yeah. I remember being 17. I mean, that was a few years ago for me. And I didn't really have a care in the world when I was 17. There was probably nonsense going on in the world when I was 17, but I couldn't even be bothered about it. It wasn't that big a deal to me. But to have a 17-year-old say the words is absolutely frightening. And Thomas, all I can say is, sorry, but we're trying to fix it.
It shows you they're waking up, man.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, when I took the wee one on the stage on Saturday, it does actually. I actually do get emotional when you look at kids like that, and you go, you know, like I was brought up in '85, you know, so I was brought up in a generation, probably the last generation, to be honest, where you not kicked out the door, but you went out, you could play, you could go on your bike. You could, you know, like, see where I stay? It's actually, there's all the houses have got kids in them, right? But I don't see any of these kids out in the street. Why is that? Mm-hmm. Why is that? Because the parents don't feel safe. The parents are not safe. There's a park around the corner. Now, I'm telling you right now, when I was a boy, there was a park around the corner for me. I know where we were all at. We were all had a football, bikes, all doing whatever we had to do. The generation of the next generation, they're going to be so antisocial. It's so scary for the youngins. And again, I've said to them before, like I go into TikTok and I do the live, and I says, "Are you not worried about your future?" Some of them, some of them like that. And I says, "When are you going to start to stand up and fight for your future?" I says, "We've all done it. We've all partied in the past. We've all done what we had to do. You know, you guys." I can see it. I see it in Glasgow. I see how much the city centre is dead, how much they have ruined the city on a Friday, Saturday night. You know, we used to go out on Friday, Saturday nights, and that city centre was rammed in Glasgow. But the hospitality sector are struggling, I know. All done by design by these governments.
Listen, we don't mind. I mean, look, it's heartbreaking. I mean, everybody knows. I mean, I'm a proud Scot. Love this country. Love the people within it. I've certainly been right, and I've been certainly complicit in the downfall of this country, because if I had maybe paid a bit more care and attention to who I was voting for over my lifetime, I might well have seen through the SNP a lot sooner than what I did. But do you know what? I've got to try and do something new, and I've been quite privileged in the fact that since coming on to X, I've met a lot of good people, a lot of activists, a lot of people that are trying to make a difference in the country. I mean, I'm a nobody, right? And I really want people to hear this. I am just a nobody. I'm just a concerned citizen, the same as everybody else. The stage I'm sharing with tonight, for instance, these are people that are actively doing something. They're out there, they're putting their faces on the line. They're out there trying to visit different countries like what Craig does. John's got his podcast. Alex out there catching pedos. You've had the protest, the protest set up with these two guys with Peter Heath. I'm just a nobody. I'm trying to find my way into this, to find my way to see if I can do something that's got to make a difference. Because when I read that comment there with that 17-year-old laddie too, I mean, that breaks your heart. I've got a 17-year-old lassie and a 15-year-old boy. Do you know what I mean? And I'm thinking to myself, how can I fix this country?
See, the thing is,
see what a better future.
See what you said there, Kev. I'm just a nobody. It's nobodies that make the change, mate.
No, but
I'm just a guy that took something and then realised the lies, mate. It's the nobodies that will make the change. Because I tell you what, Kev. Because I tell you what, I don't see the ones where the big profiles, where the celebrity status doing it, and it's the little people that can change it, mate, and that's where I'm at.
I mean, look, I appreciate what you're saying, John, right? And look, I've got a lot of respect for you guys. Every single one of you sitting up here. These are all good people. There's a lot of great people in X as well. There's a lot of crackpots as well. I mean, I'll turn up at rallies just to argue with people. Do you know what I mean? Pipe down. Do you know what I mean? There's a country to save here. But I mean, look, I'm just a voice, a voice amongst many, and I keep my voice. I keep talking. I will keep raising my voice. I'll keep trying to get through to people. I talk to people off the platform that I know that don't vote. I'm trying to get to them to understand how important it is that we do vote. But it's trying to break through to them because they've just got that mindset now that whoever we vote in just going to lie to us anyway. So it's trying to get that. But look, I'll do whatever I can do to help people. I mean, as I said, with the Peterhead one, I don't even know how I managed to stumble that across that. I seen Suzanne's post. The first two people I reached out to was Craig and yourself, John, because I knew you had the platforms to get it out there.
Thank you.
Sorry, mate.
Thank you.
But I knew you guys would talk at it. Do you know what I mean? And you guys make a lot of sense. I know Alec was meant to speak at it, but he had other engagements. But he put Ryan in his place, and Ryan was brilliant. People need to start hearing you guys more and more and more, right? Because I'm sick to the back teeth of watching some of the comments, the abuse you guys get when all you are trying to do is do something good. And I just wish people would just say, do you know what? I'm just going to pipe down. If you want to be a left-wing nutbag, go and do it, right? But let the adults try and sort the country out, because right now, these are acting like petulant kids. The lot of yous, every single one of yous. That's exactly what they are. When you turn up to these protests and you don't even know what you're protesting against, do you know what I mean? You're acting like a spoiled kid.
And it's that 10%, innit? It's ridiculous because, look, me and Craig, we agree with 90% of things. The man who was down in London, done the biggest rallies, got one on September 13th. I said to him, I said, we can agree 90%, that 10% I can't. I can do that. Craig can do that. We can do that. That woman yesterday was pretty much 90%, but that 10%, she wouldn't agree with us because we couldn't. Well, let's be honest, when she said it was a white man that was basically doing that. But
she's a crackpot.
Well, that 10%, and that what's holding people back for uniting is what's being ridiculous and is going to be the downfall for this country. And that's where I'm at.
As I say, John, I mean, and I'll finish here, right, because I know obviously there's plenty of guys up here want to talk, but I mean, look, at the end of the day, I don't deserve any credit. I don't want any credit. I just want to stand by somebody that's thinking along the same lines as me, and that's to say, I want to save my country. I want my kids to have a better future. And that's all I'm asking for. And I'll do whatever I can do to help people out. You ask me, and if I can do it, if I'm physically able to do it, I'll do it. I can't. That's all I can do right now. That's all I've got to offer. Do you know what I mean? Because I don't like seeing the cities like Edinburgh and Glasgow going the route that they're going, Aberdeen going the route that they're going, and looking the state that SNP are taking this country down. The day, what was it, England and Wales have now said that they're going to deport all foreign criminals at the end of their sentences. I've yet to see Scotland come out and say they're going to do the exact same. I mean, honestly, I just want a better country. And honestly, the people that are organising protests, bravo to you all. And anybody that's out there trying to highlight issues in our country, bravo to you all. And you all people really need to start backing you guys and give you support, more and more support, because you deserve it. Because if you're willing to put your neck in the line and you're willing to take the abuse that you guys take, then do you know what? You deserve more and more support for the people that actually do agree with you.
I think the best thing about it is you say the abuse. The only abuse that I get is ever online. I've never had anybody walk up. But it's true. I've never had anybody come up to me in Glasgow and say anything I've done is wrong. I walk through Silverburn and I've got security guards going like that. Keep doing what you're doing, big man. I'm with you all the way. So at the end of the day, it's all online, and I'm not going to entertain them. I'll never entertain them. But Craig, I'm going to go soon, mate. Am I all right? Have you got that video ready to rock and roll? Or your mic's off? Big man fell asleep there, didn't he?
Can I just say something before you play the video, John?
Aye.
Right, see when you were up speaking, right? And I can watch the video. There's 2 police officers at the back of you in the bandstand with blue high vises on. One of them is the Chief Inspector of Scotland Police Division, and the other one is our liaison sergeant officer. I was standing around the corner watching them, watching you, waiting for a signal for them to say, hey, get him off. But they never did nothing. But just watch the 2 police officers behind your speech.
Well, I think after it, me and Craig actually spoke to them, and they were absolutely brand new. The guys, the police officers at Boast, the police officers. This is the thing. I've spoken to police officers, and I've said to them, and they went, "In this uniform, I can't say anything. Out of this uniform, I might have a different answer." The police we spoke to at Peterhead, absolutely brand new, no bother. Aberdeen as well. I turned around to them. I said to them that basically, I'm only here to do journalism, and they're like, we're all good. But if Craig's going to show us video, Craig, you're on mute. But this one briefly, so I'll just touch on it quickly. Is that all right, Craig?
Aye, mate. I'm just lining up here. You just say what you've got to say, and I'll get it played. It's quite powerful, to be fair.
So basically, you hear all these stories, don't you? Hear all these stories about, women are scared and this, that, and the next thing. Now, everybody that was at the protest, I never actually got to speak to anyone that I actually thought was a local there, if that makes sense. It was like they lived down the road, or they lived down the road, or they lived whatever. They lived in Aberdeen, but not in the same street. So I'm standing there and I was talking to this couple. And just at the point I turned my camera on, I seen this young girl behind me, and she was out. I don't know if she was having a cigarette or she was out with her camera phone, so she was out. So I thought, you know what? There's an opportunity to actually speak to a young local girl who's, by the way, staying directly across from the hotel, so you can actually see the hotel behind me. And I thought, I'll ask her and get her opinion, and well, the video will speak for itself.
That was the longest intro in the history of intros. Can I start it? It's about 3 minutes long, folks. So, but it's worth it. Watch us.
Well, if you want to take the risk, I'm going to see if I get all talk because she's a local, so I'm interested to see what a local person says. You know what I mean? Good luck. I say that. Nice to see you. Are you local? So can I ask you a question? Don't worry, I won't put you in camera if you don't want to. But all I'm is doing a bit of journalism, right? I don't need to put you on camera if you don't want to, right? Like, what do you think of all of this? Out of curiosity. Are you already go on camera? You might like, okay, sorry, don't go so. Like, what do you think of all this? Curiosity.
Honestly, I don't really know. I think as long as they're not being, I feel like everyone's entitled to their opinion. Do you know what I mean? As a girl who lives there, the people in that hotel sometimes are weird. They'll like say things to you. Like if she.
How long have you stayed here?
Like 3 years.
3 years,
Yeah.
right? So would you? Right. So how old are you? Out of curiosity.
25.
No.
25.
25, right?
Yeah.
So you would say the people in that hotel have been quite aggressive to you?
Yeah, not even aggressive, just weird. Like they'll like jump out to scare you. They've chased a few of my pals down at the beach.
Seriously?
I've heard of stuff that's happened up the hill and stuff with them, and I don't know. It's obviously not nice as a woman, especially just at night time. Like I wouldn't go on a walk on my own anymore. And I used to.
So do you feel?
I'm okay like during the day, but at night and that I'd never go out more than when.
I just kind of like a student. How's here? What about the residents here? Do you
do the residents have the kind of same?
The same feel, I'd say.
Do
yeah,
they? So do they feel that they can't walk around the streets at night?
Yeah, a lot of them pals are not from here. They won't come to the beach at night. No one does anymore, really, because I don't know. They're just
So
like,
are these? How is it? Is it mainly men on these?
yeah, it's only men.
It's only men. So there's no children.
No children, no women, all men.
And are they? Do you know where they're from at all? Like,
No.
is it from Palestine? Or?
I honestly don't know.
You don't know?
No, I don't know. But they've been there for years, and I don't know. I think it was meant to be a short-term solution initially, but be there for. But I can't see them going on anytime soon.
See, to be fair, it's better to get your perspective than theirs because we don't know who's all local here. But the fact that you're local, I've just seen you out with the camera, but you literally just told me that you're too scared to walk around the night.
Yeah, I mean,
and more about the police. Have you had any like anyone?
I've never contacted the police. I know a few of my pals have because they've been chased at the beach, but they don't do anything. So.
Wow. And do you? What would you like to see happen? Out of curiosity.
Get them moved somewhere else. I don't know. I think for me it's difficult. I know they're fleeing maybe countries where they've got a lot going on, but when there's a lot of homeless people in Scotland who are suffering and they're getting like to stay somewhere that maybe the Scottish folk, like there's homeless people in Scotland. Do you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So I don't know. I just get something to happen, because it's not a long-term solution in my opinion.
This is the thing, because I've not seen anything like this where I am.
Yeah.
And like I said, I've just seen you out, and I thought, you know what? Let's speak to the locals and see what the locals say. And the fact that you've said that's a bit of concern for me to hear that. And you're a young girl as well. And well, I appreciate you for talking.
Yeah, no,
really do.
Thank you.
Wow.
It kept kind of buffering there, but I think you kind of get the gist.
That's just
it's unreal.
Words just escaped me in that one.
And the thing is, it's right next to a kids' amusement park.
Are you guys buffering or is it just me? I mean, I can't see cameras or anything like that. Is it Craig's end?
Did you hear that?
I'm buffering as well.
Do you know what it was, John? See, I noticed it at Aberdeen yesterday. I said this to Craig yesterday. I had taken a video and I tried to upload the video onto X. And it wouldn't do it. But see, the minute I left that area and I got to Craig's car, instantly went straight up. I honestly believe that see around that hotel there was a signal jammer.
Don't know. But I mean, you heard. I mean, I don't know. It was kind of buffering there, but you heard that young girl. She's 25-year-old. She lives right across the road for it. At night, especially in winter time, she won't walk to the shops, go out in the street. You know, the Asda was only a 5-minute walk away. It's somewhere you would walk to. She says her friends have been chased down to the beach, yada yada, you know, and you're like, this is what politicians should be doing. Go out and speak to the people that live in the area. Go and speak to the people that live across for the building and ask them, are you happy about this? But they're not doing it. They're just ignoring them all. And that was actually, I'm glad that girl spoke. I know she didn't want to go on camera, but I'll put the rest of the video out on my channel, hopefully tomorrow or Tuesday, Wednesday, whatever. But it was, it's sad, you know, and, you know, she's just a young lassie and she was tiny. She was only 5, well, I'm 6'3", so she was 5'5" or something like that. Do you know what I mean? 5'4", but, and then when she said that, I said, did you ask the police? She said she hasn't personally, but her friends has, and she says the police haven't done anything. So there's just a massive concern there, in my opinion.
John, that actual block of flats that she lives in as well, when we were at the protest last week, I mean, we didn't realise it started because we were all focused on the hotel, but eventually we started looking around, looking behind us and looking up, and I'd say at least eight
or
flats on the top floor had Palestine flags out. They were all standing there with hijabs and burqas. They were all filming us. They were all calling us racists. I says, like you just showed, okay, we're no locals to Aberdeen, and we were just turning up to help. But again, it's people like that young woman who lives there. It's got to suffer with us every day.
And this is the thing. If you think about it, right, the locals won't come out and protest, because if you think about it, if they go out and protest and stand there, the protest will go away. And then they've still got to deal with that. And then all it would take is for someone to see them and go, you're that. And then now they're a target in their own area.
Aye,
so
100%.
It really is quite frightening for that young girl. And she says in the winter time. So what time? It gets dark at like 5 o'clock. You know? So I don't know. Big house,
it's crazy.
Big house,
crazy stuff. We've spoke quite a lot, obviously, about Peter Hayden. We've spoken about Aberdeen and some of the stuff we've seen there. I'm going to edit a video. I took some footage at Aberdeen. It was just mental, and there was this crazy person with a megaphone. And I thought, I know your face, and it turned out it was what's her name, Sophie Molly or something.
Aye.
Who's a man that dresses as a woman, and he was on the megaphone. And this person is so nuts, right, that they put out a few months ago that they were going to be the Green Party candidate. I can't remember if it was a local election or an Holyrood election, but they were going to be the Greens candidate. And then the way they carried on after the Supreme Court hearing judgment about a man's a man and a woman's a woman, just that bad. The Green Party kicked him out. Now, if you can get kicked out the Greens in Scotland, you're particularly nuts. And I was talking to your pal, John, because I can't remember his name, right? No, your pal's name, the geezer with the microphone, the dress on. Said, and he went, do you know what? He went, that's Sophie Molly, whatever. He said, what he does is, he's into women's toilets and films himself going into the toilet, public toilets and stuff like that, just to say, look, you'll never tell me where to do the toilet. You think these people are so selfish that they don't understand that the thing isn't about them. It's about 50% of this population who are female, and even if they're not even a risk to them physically, which some say they are not, let's just say they are not a risk physically, why should any woman have to consider that there might be a man in the toilet with them?
Exactly.
It's just a total basic human
principles.
Not even a necessity. You don't go to the toilet. A woman shouldn't be in a toilet thinking, I wonder if that person's a guy, or I wonder if there's a guy going to walk in here with a dress on. It just shouldn't happen. So you to be so selfish, demand that I'm going to pee there. No. And if you say, well, if they go into the man's toilet, then they'll be at risk. Well, I would kind of rather they were at risk than any female I know, if that's all right. If it's a coin toss between who's going to be the safest here, I vote women all the time. And that's then taken away the option that they've always had and just go into a single-use toilet.
Agreed. It's common sense. And
just, there's every place has got them. And I'm not going to say the word that we use to describe them because that's the excuse they use for not using them.
Yeah.
And, you can walk into every public place must have a single-use toilet by law. And you can go in there. And then you're not going to upset anybody. You're not putting yourself at risk. You're not getting people even feeling uncomfortable. But anyway, so that, and I thought, right, if you're the one that's leading the chance here, you're at the top of the tree of that wee gang of people, and you're evidently a nutcase, right? So I'm going to do a wee 10-minute moan on that. Maybe I'm going away tomorrow for a couple of days. I don't know if I'm going to be doing many videos when I'm away, but I'll try and fit that one in because it was just bonkers and some of the stuff we've seen. Mind, John, before you go, I know you're meant to spend time with your missus tonight and I appreciate you coming in for any time, never mind the amount of time you have come on. But you were reminding me, I forgot all about it when you're like, Craig, give me the tour of this place in Aberdeen with that stuff. Have you seen this banner? Have you seen this banner? And they're just chaos. And you just go, that makes no sense. These are just proper cranks. That's all you are.
Well, some of the banners were absolutely hilarious. Some of the banners.
Welcome to the northeast of Scotland, now.
It's not just that. I mean, the thing is as well, it's the same people. There was a protest yesterday in Glasgow at Kelvin Grove, I think, and it was Let Women Speak. So this is the woman called Kelly. So she's very predominant, you know, what a man is a man, a woman is a woman, a trans woman is a man. And they had, again, I didn't know about it. You know, if I wasn't at Peterhead, I would have went to that one to kind of cover that one.
Hold on a minute. See you, mate. Right, see that crank?
Love this go that thing.
Right. Consider yourself a band.
No, keep him, mate. Keep him, mate.
What was that he said?
I love this Claire go that bring me noise.
Absolute fucking idiot.
You get them, you get them, and I've never ever had any of them come up to me. So if you want it, it's fine. Don't worry, we can try.
Can I just?
I don't know if I'll be able to show you this, right? You all right, Kev? You sound awful.
I've got a bit of a hoarse voice today.
You sound like that boy from Aberdeen. You got up and spoke. That boy had. I thought it was Brian Blessed when he started.
Lewis.
That guy's got to be in an opera. He's got to be an opera singer.
Well, can I quickly address something in the comment section? Somebody was asking about hotels in Edinburgh. Yes, there are hotels in Edinburgh, and over the next couple of weeks, I'll be exposing every single one of them. I'll go and visit, and they'll all be on X over the next couple of weeks. So, yes, and I'll be putting them all out for everybody to see where they actually are, because they're not on that website on your doorstep. So, I'll be in the next couple of weeks, they'll be out for everybody to see.
Brilliant.
Keep up the work. Now, I'm just going to show something. I don't know if that'll work. No. So Basil sent us this WhatsApp, right? Between me and him on Twitter, obviously showing this same thing. There's over 2,000, right? And GB News are at 1,200. That's on X. We'll get 700-800 people more watching this on X than are watching GB News, and I do have a bit of time for GB News, especially Matt and Dobney there, who's had me on 2 or 3 times the programme. So I'm not trying to gloat or anything. I just think it's mental that the power of social media. And the weird thing is, right? Oh, there's 2 people now watching on Facebook. That was at 0 for most of the night. You think, well, that's bloody weird. So something's maybe happening on there, and I'll just try and get, without my computer crashing.
That's probably some of our friends sharing
it. Just another thing. If there's anybody knows, because I've been trying to find out who's organising the Claddon Hotel in Falkirk protest on Saturday. If anybody knows who it is, in your own X, can you DM me at Kevin the Ranter? Because I want to pass them on to obviously yourself, Craig, to can get them on the live and get them to protest a wee bit more. But I've been on it. I've got an email which I've got sent to the Mora to somebody, and hopefully, because we've only got a week left to do that, but if we can try and get the word out in the next week about this one and try and get as many numbers to Falkirk on Saturday, because again, as you know, there was a 15-year-old lassie and a 12-year-old boy raped from people within that hotel. So I think it's important we get out there and support them on Saturday as well.
I'm away, as I say, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, so I'll be back Wednesday night. I could either do a live if you do find them Wednesday or Thursday, and we'll get a bit of a thing where I just right. This is nuts, right? This just blows my mind that where are we? Screen share. This one, is that the right one?
Well, John,
so there's the stuff that's at the back end of.
On you go, Craig.
Go on, mate.
I'm saying, John,
that's the stuff I see at the back end. Right, that's the stuff I see at the back end of YouTube. So there's 3,300 people watched it on my YouTube channel, and over 2,000 people on Twitter. It's bonkers, isn't it? 5,000 odd people. watching us.
Well, see if you are watching, if you could go and subscribe to my Bring the Noise channel, I'd really appreciate that, guys. Just type in Bring the Noise podcast on YouTube.
Even you sign in.
That's what I'm saying, John. You brung the noise to Peterhead, man, and 100% respect for doing that, brother.
Appreciate it, mate. I enjoyed the welcome on, mate. It was good. You done well to bring me on, mate. I actually enjoyed that.
See when you sign on, John, you get the option to share it in your socials as well. You should maybe try that next time, because we'll throw it out more into YouTube, and you might just see more people biting and following your channel, because of the topics John talks about, he does get choked a bit on YouTube. I can notice it because I do slightly different things from time to time, and I sometimes see I'll put on a certain topic and I know I'm going to get choked, and it's not just that one video that you get choked for. It tends to last 2 or 3, sometimes 4 days.
It would be good to kind of one of my biggest followings is probably TikTok now. I'm on a ban. It's probably, I've had 25 of them, but TikTok do live streams as well, so it'd be interesting to see if we could get this kind of onto a TikTok live as well. So you've got Twitter, YouTube, and then get onto the TikTok as well, so people are starting to see it more.
Aye, well done. Now, next time you're on, John, when you sign in, I don't know, I seen it once when I was on Sean Atwood's show, and it came up, do you want to broadcast it on your, and because I had a StreamYard account anyway, it kind of knows my stuff, so I just clicked the box and went, I put it on YouTube, put it on Twitter, put it on my Facebook feed, and bang, away it went. And I thought, that was quite good, and Sean was like, that was good numbers you got, Craig. So that's when I started getting into the lives, and I'm fair enjoying them. And see the fact now, when this show started, it was the fact to do the concept of people phoning in. It was quite a bit like trying to draw teeth, but now we're getting people, at the start we're queuing up, and you're seeing like Monty's been on a few times and stuff, and it's great. And the people in the comments, I can see names. There's Michael's popped up, and now Clarence on all the time, and there's only 5 names up there, and when it'll go, then there's people just getting really regulars with it. So I'm fair enjoying it. It's good fun, and it's when you've spent 2 years talking to that camera and moaning for 10 minutes, and then spending hours, researching the video and editing it and putting it out on the socials. It takes probably a good 2 to 3 hours to do 1 10-minute moan. It's boring as hell. Do you know what I mean? Because you're in the house and staring at the camera, and there's no feedback. But when you're doing these, it's really enjoying it. So thanks very much for the folk that are watching it, and thanks very much to those who are brave enough to come up. And when we're doing them again, you don't need to put your face up. Look at Kevin, look at Basil. They just come in with their camera turned off, and hopefully going forward we get more and more, and the whole show is just maybe an hour and a half of people coming in and saying, "Houston, I've got a problem," and here that is. And the other thing I want to do, I want to know what people's problems are across the UK, because John and me and Alex are talking about doing a wee special project in the not too distant future. And if we highlight areas in the UK where there's specific problems, then we'll come to you. And then, I'm always out and about, going and doing my own wee tours, and heading to Ballymena, and I've gone to Greece, and gone to Cali and Manchester, myself doing my own stuff. So, if somebody was to come on one night and had a problem, and it was in Leeds, and it was a bit of a mental thing, it's not much effort for me to jump in the car and get down there and highlight the problems. So
I'm trying to possibly get a rally together for Glasgow as well. So I'm just trying to, like I said, Craig, I've said this before, they're knocking all these places out the park. George Square, out of limits, Glasgow Green. So tomorrow I'm going to go and attempt another location, and then hopefully we bring the noise to Glasgow and we start to bring the causes together. I've said it for day one. This is just one of the many issues that are happening in this country, and we need to start bringing everyone together, all the causes together. Unity is what's needed. I say it all the time, unity is what's needed. I mean, Craig, how many topics have you covered on your channel now? The amount of problems in this country. So we have to.
Well, I've done 1,400 odd videos, mate. So it's been quite a lot.
And how many of those subjects has the mainstream media covered? How much coverage? Very little.
That's kind of my role, though. I kind of prefer to either do the stories that the mainstream aren't covering, or do the an angle on the story that they've not covered. Do you know what I mean? That's kind of where
I think that's what we're all. That's what we're all doing. Like, we're seeing problems. I didn't set up a podcast to speak to people because I'd rather let other people do that. You know, I set up a podcast to get the voices out that you're not hearing, and then you just kind of, you know what it's like, Craig. I mean, my mate said to you a year ago, you're going to start to unravel, and then you're like that. Then you're like, holy shit, there's something going on here. So I could just stick to the Jags all day, but then I'm like, that's link, that link, that link. So we're doing this to make people aware that if we don't do this, then we're all screwed.
Yep, definitely. Data right, why?
Well, you've just got in contact with Fender saying, is there a way of contacting Kevin? Dreghorn Travel Lodge, Edinburgh, believed to be hounding migrant men. People have seen them dropped off recent incident, cordon off street with blood outside. You onto that one, mate?
I think Kev's gone, is it?
Kev fell asleep, mate.
Oh, Kev's that's him. I'm not giving him any more runs to bloody Peter Reid. I'll talk
to him about that. I think that Johnny wrecked him,
wrecked me. And then, by the way, if it was no bad enough with him in the way up, but him and bloody Guerrilla TV in the way back down, they're copper crackpots at them.
I'm going to be fun out.
Do you know what? I'm going to give Guerrilla TV. It's actually Guerilla, and I'm going to get that guy's been doing this a hell of a long time. That boy's
a long time, more than that. I mean, it's over a decade, I think.
He's been doing a lot of politics stuff, so the guy deserves a bit.
Where is he?
Oh, is he?
Just come up there. Where is it? Guerrilla TV.
Yeah, there you go.
Reposted this stream, so that's his X handle and his
YouTube. He's went after them. Like there's actually a video he done, and it was with who's the guy that runs Labour? And what's his name?
Anas Sarwar.
I always mix up between him and the lawyers they all use, because the two of them are just so.
Anwar, his name's Anwar. One's Sarwar, the other one's Anwar.
They're just in cahoots together.
You're obviously a racist if you.
Hey, you're sitting with two local racists.
That's the thing. So he done a video where he was basically saying to that Labour politician. And they come out and they're like, "Oh, you're a, get away, you're right wing," and it's like he's asking a genuine question, mate. But again, it's just a standard kind of lefty, kind of a victim, answer, and just getting bloody, So he's done a lot of stuff to kind of get the word out.
Good man.
Right, well, we've got another guest come up to speak. Peter Heath, protesters the name. So, in fact, there's Kev there. I don't know what happened. He went out in the back in again. So, Peter Heath, protester. There's a rule when you come on and you just say, Houston, we have a problem, and then you tell us what your problem is. So, the floor is yours.
Houston, we have a problem.
Smashing, I love it.
Smashing.
Alan will know me and Stephen will know me, but I've kind of kept my face and identity to myself because I'm going through a PIP assessment. I was just wondering, I thought yesterday that I spoke to a few people and like my daughter, she doesn't really understand what's going on. And I thought, would it be beneficial if we had questions and answers for the speakers?
Yeah.
Kind of the audience can ask questions at the end.
Yeah, listen, there's two very distinctly different type ways of doing this, and the two of them don't mix. I'll be perfectly honest with you, mate, having had experience of protests where speakers get up and having experience with question and answer sessions, you couldn't have the two of them mixed because your guests, I mean, take yesterday, for example, there was 3 years up there that drove 3.5 hours to get there, right? And we've all got lives. And you've got somebody, can you go in 4th or 5th and you go, right, I'll be on in about an hour, right? And if you have questions and answers, then say I get up and say my piece and there's one person got a question, that's fine. If John goes up behind me and 25 people have got a question, then the person that's waiting to go up to speak next to him that might have to get him to make his wife's dinner or something that night isn't getting up to speak the next 2 minutes. And then what happens is if you try and cut the question short, then people start getting upset that you never asked me. I never got to ask my question and all that stuff. So I hear what you're saying, but I don't believe that's the best forum for that. But having a night and maybe a hall set up where everybody's got a seat and everybody's easier to see stuff and take part, then would be the ideal place for that. But I don't believe a protest is the place to have question and answer because it becomes just a bit mental.
No, I see what you're saying. Aye. That's all I really had to ask.
Did you enjoy yourself yesterday?
Well, I got to shake your hand as I left. I've been watching your videos.
See, if that was a highlight, if that was a highlight of your day, it couldn't have been
and I
that
brought
good
up
a day.
enough courage at the end because you'll remember you were speaking to some policeman, and I came up and shook your hand, and that was it just shows you how the people in our area know how to behave at protests, can it anything. It was just outstanding. I thought the day couldn't have went any better, and the people that organised it, you guys coming up, it was just phenomenal day for Peterhead.
Mm-hmm. No, I appreciate that. John and I were talking about that earlier on today on the phone, and I was like, John, how do you? It's weird, isn't it? It's dead humbling, and it's nice. And it's embarrassing. It's all those things into one. When somebody comes up, they say, "Oh, I love your channel, big man. I watch all your stuff." You're right. Oh, what? That's just nuts, right? And we were talking about it just today. And then, and some folk want selfies and stuff, and you're like, that's the kind of things folk do outside fitness stadiums when the players come out. We're just normal guys.
I mean, you're charging a $5, but
you're a John. It's a wonder you didn't get charged for peddling that, Craig.
Aye. No, but it's lovely, mate, and I appreciate it. But it is slightly weird to deal with when you're the person that folk want to come up and shake your hand and tell you that you're doing stuff good and wanting selfies and stuff. But me and John were just talking about it today, and they're just normal people. So it's lovely and it's weird and it's embarrassing and it's all these things, as I say, all rolled into one, mate. But most of all, it's appreciated. Believe me, makes it. We get a lot of shite off people. So see when you get people nogging you shite and saying nice things, it's really appreciated.
I think there has to be more of these. Like we say, this plan goes to if what we're planning, Craig, in the future, and I hope it does go ahead with me, you, and Alex Kearney.
Mm-hmm.
I think it'll be brilliant if we start to get traction. But I think that we're going to start to see more of these protests around the country, and I think it will louder and louder. And I'm hoping that people do start to. I said, I think there's just a bigger thing at play, and I like to see people are getting more awake to the truth, if that makes sense.
Yep. Well, you've got us as back and new. We're with you, Jonah. So if ever you guys want to do, we're behind you 100%.
Thank you, and it's much appreciated. And thanks again. I would have thanked you on Saturday for coming up and saying hello and whatever. But I just want to thank you publicly. And then honestly, everybody that does it, it is just bonkers, right? But the most important emotion is thanks, because it is a tough gig at times. And Stephen was talking to me about it last week about the shite you need to deal with, putting your head above the parapet. So you get a lot of shite flung at you. So when people are coming up and being complimentary, you're a human being. It does get to you sometimes emotionally in a nice way. So thank you.
Yep, like John said, I felt humble the whole day yesterday. I couldn't get away from feeling humble until I went to my bed and fell asleep.
Aye, you get some buzz, don't you?
Oh, it's surreal. I've never felt like that for at all. Ken, it was like I didn't care for the day.
No, see when you do something and you feel you're making a difference, you get some buzz at it. But and you've got to be up. I was talking to Stephen about this last week and today. You have always got to be up, and you will get shite. There will be negatives. I mean, I've had and John the same. We've had hit pieces put in the newspapers, national newspapers, telling lies about us and misinformation about us, and you go for that to just people being arseholes online. But same as John, I mean, this is my second rodeo. 10 years ago, I had a 3-year campaign to try and oust, or part of a campaign to try and oust Rangers Football Club directors, and that was tough going. But even at that time, you know, what you see online and hidden behind nom de plumes normally doesn't manifest itself in public. So, you know, it is just idiots with keyboards. You know what I mean? You don't get an IQ test to get a Twitter account. But I mean, I've been at this for a while now, and the both campaigns that I've had, you know, maybe 5 years experience between the two of them. And as sometimes you just get, what am I doing? Do you know what I mean? There's another idiot saying shite about me. I can't be bothered with it anymore. But and the one that got me was when I was doing my first thing, the football thing. Facebook was my sort of best outlet, and you would put a post out with something, you know, quite big news about some shite the Rangers directors had done that week, and you would get back to it an hour later, and there'd be hundreds of comments. And what you would do is you would scan down them, and you'd go, "Oh, brilliant, big man! Thanks for sharing that. You're a diamond. You're a great guy. You're smashing. Just right, blah blah blah." And then you'd have one that would just go, "You're a dick, right? You tell lies." That's the only one you actually stopped it, right? You would scroll down all these lovely ones and just click the like button, and then you get to this one and you'd go, "You're fucking," and it'd ruin your night. That would be it. And then you'd start arguing with this crank, right? Hours of your life, days of your life, and then you would just go, "What am I doing?" And then, you know, 3 days later, a week later, you'd get caught up doing the same. And thankfully, I've kind of learned for that just I laugh at them now. I genuinely like you seen it, Stevie, the way I was reacting to all the fucking idiots with the, you know, called racism, whatever stuff that came out. You know, I genuinely don't lose a heartbeat over it. Whereas the Craig of old 10 years ago would have been wanting to argue every point, every minute, and go back to Twitter every 10 minutes to see if they'd responded and all that nonsense.
It's weird, isn't it?
They're just bangers.
It's just weird. Like, I actually seen a podcast with a guy, and he said that. He said, like, as human beings, it's like we're attracted to we can get 100 positive, but that one negative, it's like we're attracted to negativity. It's weird. Yep. But I've just learned to, like, there's parts of my, I think it's on TikTok, there's bits it's like review the comment, and it's like, so you can let these comments go in and see if it's even negative. It gives you the option. It says review it, let it in, or delete it. I let it in. And do you know why I let it in? Because I let other people argue with them. Because it gets to the point that it gets to the point now with me is I won't debate with these people unless they're coming on and having an actual conversation. But if you want to call me something or whatever, that's fine. But I tell you what, the people in my comments, they'll argue for me. Because I'm like, I don't need to do it.
I've seen that a lot the last time as well. My first rodeo, folk would jump in, you just sit back and go, "The boys have got my back here." Total randoms, folk you'll probably never meet or have ever met in your life. Just got your back and say, you're not getting shut up. Who do you think you're talking to? Right? And just like, oh, brilliant, we're away again.
So, hey, would you guys come back up again if we organise something?
No. Absolutely.
It's got to be every weekend, isn't it?
We'll back. I've got terms now, Alan. Right?
All right, good then.
Right, the next time I want a dressing room I don't need to share with John Watt, right? And I only want blue M&Ms in my bowl.
I was the only one.
Right, here's the main one, right? Yous need to pay for a train for Kevin to come up, because I'm not putting up with him again in a motor.
We're not going down this road again, man.
Well, I'll tell you, I'll make a deal with you. I'll come down to pick you up and take you back up to Peterhead and then bring you back off.
Are you Heckle Brocklebank for Hatch B Fish and we're getting picked up in a transit van stinking of salmon?
No, but I can do that if you want like that. I've got a man who's got it took all the ladders and chairs or what. He's got a meat van, so can you put 40 ton of fish in for you?
What a ton of fish?
There was no burgers on there.
I've got some fish for you, man. For Peterhead.
Well, I'm going to need to bow out. I appreciate you guys. And to be honest with you guys in Peterhead, man, try and keep the momentum going. If you know what I mean. Start. I say it all the time. Start getting the community together. Start getting more people coming. Everybody that was there, whatever you need to do, leaflet drop and that. Start putting the pressure on these people that are supposed to represent you. That's these people that are supposed to represent you and start doing the right thing. Where was that local councillor? Was he there at the weekend?
He was at the counter-protesters, and the SNP were beside the counter-protesters. They were nowhere near us or the bandstand there.
At the Peterhead, well, you know what? You win in numbers, and it's the community that will win it, no them.
But hey, I'm chuffed they were there because they got to hear what we thought. Their names got mentioned, the council got mentioned, the government got mentioned, Labour, SNP got mentioned. That's good enough for me, yeah.
Brilliant. Well, I'm going to go.
Right, bud. See you later.
Right, John, take it easy, pal.
Johnny, get him off. Honestly, he says he was going on for an hour. He's been on for 14 hours. Right?
Is that I always like to say? Bring the fucking noise.
Bring the noise, John.
Right, here's the bigotry and the sectarianism started. We are the people 1690, right? You need to remember the ages we live in, right? That could probably be considered sectarian hate, threatening, right? Incitement. Meat Van Kev's gone in the hooks.
But see, I take that as good banter. Right? So I'm take offence to that one. I think that's quite funny, actually. You know what I mean? That's all right. But just quick thing as well, if you don't mind. Finder 407, I seen your message and I've took a screen dump here. And Boss TV, yes, Kings Manor is one of the hotels that's on my radar to check out.
Brilliant. Right, so I just wanted before I did manage. This has been a mammoth 2 hours, right? And it's been sound, solid one. It's been probably one of the best spaces. Spaces are on X. This is a live. Sorry, right? We've done so, but there's a few questions that come in that are fired over to the start section. So I'm just going to go over to that just now and cover them. There's about a dozen of them, so we'll fire through them. The first one came in quite early after the Greek trip, Craig, and the info gathered there, adding in way the US bombed Iran. Is our present situation not a long-term plan for Islamic access to what is now Trident? Possibly. This stuff really just melts my head. When I went over to Greece, I went over thinking I was going to do a video with just having some footage of migrants coming out on the boat from Turkey into the EU, and then it turned into me seeing some really dark things and started digging into other things while I was there that just blew my mind. And what the ultimate thing that started all this, I don't know. All I do know is loads of people are making bloody loads of money off it now, and I've created a full industry called immigration, and there's a few of them making coins. So I don't know what the true start it was and its first intentions, but it's probably grew into something else, and now we're just making millionaires and billionaires every year over it, and the normal people are the ones that are being affected. Absolutely, of course, right, Craig, getting out and about. Well, I kind of get told by a doctor if I didn't lose a stone, I was going to die in the 1st of January when I get diagnosed with diabetes. So that's kind of, it was a bad story, but I have lost about 3 stone. That was a boy. Gerard that was in earlier on, the American, and saying he's coming over. Hopefully he was still hanging about, and we showed the video, because what I was basically saying to him was Aberdeen. I worked up in Aberdeen 2002 for about 6-9 months. It's a lovely city, some crackpots in it, but a lovely city. Good night out at the time, and it's no that city anymore. It's changed. So it's still a nice city. There are worse places you can go in the world, but make sure you do a bit of research into where you're potentially going to go. Caroline said, hey Craig, comments are getting deleted on your last video. What's happening there? I have no idea. There are certain keywords that YouTube will just automatically delete. I do have the ability to go into my YouTube and delete messages, but I don't sit in my YouTube messages constantly looking for things to delete. I have deleted maybe a handful of things in 2 years, so I don't know what's going on there, pal. Gizmo, Craig and panel, what's your thoughts on advance with Ben Habib? Do you guys support Rupert Lowe for PM? Well, you've got advance and you've got, what's the other one called?
The story. What is the nearest story?
Advance UK, is it? Advance UK, is that one of them?
Aye, right. So one's a party and one's not.
Aye,
It's just a
Restore
conglomerate
Britain.
of people.
Aye, Restore
that was
Britain.
it. So you've got, I like Ben Habib, I like Rupert Lowe, and the both of them are doing slightly different things now. Ben Habib's got a party. I'm a member of a party. I'm a leader of the SDP up in Scotland. So I can't really get involved with Ben Habib's party because I've already got one and I quite like it. Rupert Lowe's thing, on the other hand, is more of a non-party political body, which is coming up with ideas and potential policies that they hope other parties will take on board. So that's something I can support. And I'm a member of GB PAC, which is a very similar thing. It's just a load of people who say, let's have a think tank and come up with ideas. And Rupert's thing is very similar. So that's something that I could join going forward. Question, did you see the Lotus Eaters podcast about the 4 scenarios of downfall of UK? No, I've not. However, I like a Sunday night, go to my bed reasonably early, and that might be on my watch list tonight. We've got Annie, thanks Craig for what, and the guys standing out for our country. Thanks very much. And that was another, what's it called, super stickers, which I appreciate. And I said when the other one came in, actually it was incorrect what I said. The super stickers and the memberships that people buy for my YouTube channel, that pays for equipment for the channel. Like this laptop is the third one. There's a second one, because I use one for in here and I use one for going out and about, and I've actually got a third one that I broke, so that your money's paid for that, it's paid for these lights, it's paid for all the stuff I've done at the back here to make this look like a nicer studio. So thank you very much for that, Bess. And the money that goes in, and what I did say, I said that money is used for the trips. That's not true. The money for the trips goes into any money that's put into the Buy Me a Coffee. That it pays for my trips. And I'd only started using that when I'd done the trip, the Lesbos trip. Lesbos trip cost me about £1,000, and I thought I'm not going to recoup that in adverts. And I'm not making money when I'm out there. So the total cost of the trip is actually more than £1,000. That was in costs, but then I take in loss of earnings, probably more. Anyway, and I thought even if I could get 300 or 400 quid back for that, that would be fantastic. So I started that Buy Me a Coffee thing, and it went nuts. And I couldn't believe it. And it's recouped all the costs for the Lesbos trip. And there's whatever anybody that's donated since, that money's getting ring fenced for the next trip, which I'm planning just now. And Ramey's joined as a member. Again, that money goes into the pot for the equipment and stuff like that. And I bought it. Today, I've not used it for a while. I bought it when I went to Cali, like body cams and stuff like that. Oh, and I bought a drone today. The second one, I smashed the first one, but it only cost me 40 quid, and it was a toy just to play with, so I'm no bothered. But I met a boy up at the thing who knows loads about them, and he just upgraded his, so I bought his old one off him. So that money will just come out of the members' money, and it's great being able to do things like that without thinking about it. So the drone's coming. When is Falkirk? It's Saturday. What time's that kicking off, Kev?
12 o'clock, mate.
So there you go, mark my words. 12 o'clock, get yourself along there. Craig, Martian, right, this is going to be a welter. I've went and bought myself a mixer. Wee bit of practice. All right, right. I'm mixing decks. I thought he meant a blender type thing. I'm like, what's Martian up to now, right? Martian's great, right? See if you want a laugh on Twitter, make sure you get into any space that Martian's in. He's absolutely crackers, the boy. He's one of the nicest boys that you'll come across, and his mum's even funnier. Remember the time she came into a call, Kev?
Aye, Martian's brilliant, though.
Martian's mom came into Twitter and absolutely destroyed Martian. It was brilliant. Anyway, thanks very much, mate. We've got Alexander, another new member. And let the fun begin. Thanks very much. And I think this is the last one I pushed aside. Alan, Jenny's man's got his CPO licence. Is that the security thing, I take it? Get his details in case you need security. Well, that would be quite handy going forward. So thanks very much for that. And Alan and Jenny, as I was saying, we've got loads of people who you see in every single live that we do. They're some of them. So thanks very much, guys. That's great. And since this is how bonkers it is, right? See, since I went over to the start ones to read them out, there's another 44 mentions came in on here. Like, And this guy, he's about one cheeky sentence away from getting a ban. Who's our Proverbs, right? He keeps saying, "I'm not going to slag you about the Rangers anymore," and then just slags me about Rangers, right? So Proverbs. So that's kind of us. I kind of think after 2 hours and 20 minutes, we kind of need to wrap this up. So, any of you guys want to say anything before we finish for the night? And I'm disappointed Monty's not come back in to do the cheery bye nows, but I did offer him, and he did the cheek one halfway through. So, if you're out there, Monty, you've got about 15 seconds to get your bum back in here to do it properly.
Right, I'll say, Craig, Kev, him and cheers for all your support and all your help and everything you've done and coming up and giving us your time. Muchly appreciated. Love you guys. Pleasure.
Thank you. Thanks for that.
Well, listen, mate, it was a pleasure. And I'll tell you what, man, if there's ever another one in Peterhead, I would advise everybody go up. I've never felt so welcome in a town and a city across this country. You guys were fantastic yesterday, and I greatly appreciated the fact that you let us come up as well. So good on you as well. Hopefully your next one will be bigger. You might need to get another. You might need another location to ram it. That's what will be that many.
Well, we're working on it.
Well, you know where we are. Minute
Exactly.
I see that flyer, it will be all over the place, and Big Craig will be all over it.
Champion.
Right, Steve.
Go on, Stephen.
Well, you went quiet, Steve. I don't know what you've done with your mic, mate.
He's muted.
You're on mute.
I don't know what's that. Hold on.
He'll probably come back on again. He'll reboot it.
You want to try you there, Steve? No. You can see your lips moving. I'll kick you out studio, mate. Just click the link and come back in. We'll see if it's better. So, Kev, what's your Cheerios?
No, listen, as I say, mate, I enjoyed this weekend. I mean, I got a wee bit angry doing it Aberdeen. But I just can't believe some of the mentality of these people. If anybody, as I say, that's got any concerns in some of the hotels across West Lothian, East Lothian and Central Region, just DM me on X and I will get round to them all. And let's hope that Falkirk turn out their numbers on Saturday and show up and show a bit of support down there as well, because Falkirk's a great community, great town, fantastic town, as is Grangemouth, and I'm watching the two. I mean, I drive round there all the time because I just love being down there, and it's hard to watch that town centre. And I actually was doing in Grangemouth at the weekend the other day there too, and the start of the Laporta precinct took away doing the first party. It's just been demolished, and it's hard to watch what's happening across our towns and cities. And well done, Peterhead, for starting the ball, getting the ball rolling. Now we need to keep the momentum going, and we need to keep applying the pressure. Craig couldn't have put it any better yesterday. Absolutely phenomenal the way he put it, and a space. I'll let Craig reiterate that point, but that's your starting point.
I don't know what point you were talking about.
It's just the one where you were saying that when we were in Pap's space, and you were saying obviously the days was your starting point. Now we've got to keep applying the pressure. We've got to get these. We've got to keep going. And as Alex said earlier on, there's no point in day one and then letting it die out. We've got to keep going. So anybody in any town in any city across this country, and you feel like you can want to organise, you get it organised. We'll get it promoted. We'll get everybody. We'll get it all over the place, and hopefully we'll get the numbers out there. We've just got to keep going and keep going, because the more towns and cities across this country start showing that we've disgusted the way our country and our people are being getting treated, then they're going to eventually have to listen to us at some point.
Definitely. Definitely. It's got to be organised and legal. So the way we got Urine done pretty good was we kept in contact with the police. We told them everything. They knew what to expect. That's why they sent 50 police officers away, because they knew it wasn't going to be a violent protest.
Mm-hmm. Right, well, there's a question just come up late there, Andy McGill asking, can you talk about your legal case yet, Craig? Well, yes, I can, but I need to be careful what I say about it. So all I can say was I was due to appear in court on Friday. I was advised by my lawyer on Wednesday that wasn't to happen. The police came to my door on Thursday to give me a new undertaking to appear in court on the 19th of September. So I can't get into the whys or the guessing whys or any of that, but I've got this over my head for at least another 6 weeks. So thanks for your concern there, Andy, and that's kind of as much as I can say about it without falling out with people and my lawyer's advice and stuff. So, but thanks for your concern. So anyway, right, down to me. Thanks very much to everybody, especially the ones that's come up through the whole 2.5 hours to, sort of co-host this. It's been fantastic. Thanks to the 3 or 4 that came in from the listeners to come up and speak, because that's kind of what I want to do with this. Show the Houston we have a problem. It's great, and it makes me tickled when folk come up and go like, Houston we have a problem, right? It's just madness.
Right, it's funny.
We're getting a catchphrase, and then you've got folk that want to come on saying, can I see your other one? And it's just madness, isn't it? So thanks to all them. Thanks to everybody that's tuned in. There's been over 4,000, I think, watched on YouTube. The Twitter numbers are 2,800, so we're at nearly 7,000 people watched this.
That's crazy, man.
Isn't it? And it's not showing any for Facebook, so I don't know what's happening. I know there's people watched it on Facebook because there's some thumbs up on Facebook, but it's not showing a number of people who are or have watched it, so I've no idea. But you're kind of 7,000 people. It's mental, isn't it? For
wow. Right, Stephen, you want to say? Are you want to say something, Stephen?
Hi, I'm quite gutted that Alex dropped you, actually, because I did want to speak to Alex on here tonight. But we'll catch up again. We'll maybe get another one with Alex on. I mean, guys, Kev. Start with Suzanne, because if it wasn't for Suzanne, this wouldn't have been made possible.
Yeah.
Kev as well for jumping on, contacting yourself, John, Alex. Support we received because of Kev was amazing. Yourself, you jumped on it straight away, got some lives, drummed up support. So thank you for that as well. John, I knew John I saw John first time at London last year. And I mean, it shows you the power that you guys have. I mean, John was on stage in front of nearly 200,000 people last summer. This summer, he came all the way up to Peterhead for a couple of hundred. So it shows you in guys' class. I mean, Ryan as well.
Ryan done brilliant.
Aye.
Me and Alex actually spoke about Ryan because I'd seen his videos and I asked Alex's thoughts on Ryan coming up. So the plan was, when Alex was still in attendance, Ryan was going to be coming up anyway. He was going to be surprised by Alex to come up on stage and speak. So he was going to speak anyway, I think.
He just didn't know it.
He just didn't know it. Aye. And with Josh as well for the homeland party. I mean, what a great guy he is.
Yep.
It was. Hold on a second. Chapo, move. Aye. So I mean, the lot of yous were great. I mean, Lewis and Chris, the two. Chapo, scram. Lewis and Chris from Aberdeen. The two girls. Gotta kill them. Were class. Again, we met them in Aberdeen. They came through to say thank you. I like the thank you security as well.
Aye.
We had Callum Bucking. He organised himself. The woman in the red jumper that was walking around was Paula. They were told the priority was to make sure you guys were protected. There was no trouble in the crowd. did a fantastic job. Josh as well, was a guy gave an off-air interview to John. He was told as well his priority was to protect you guys up on stage and to look after my daughter. He did a fantastic job as well. To all the guys who were in attendance, the guys on X, the guys like Dragless, Scottish veteran, Mike Lauderdale. I can't remember his wife's name. She's on X. We'll follow each other as well. I mean, these guys came for out of town to come and see us. The guy for London with an old woman and her son that came up for the bottom of England purely for the protest. It was just fantastic. And the guys for Peterhead that actually turned out, without the support of the public, it would have been a disaster. So they can all hold their heads up high as well. So a big thank you to them. They done well. But Alex especially, Alex went above and beyond when he jumped on us as well. A lot of people took notice because Spartan's different for the likes of yourself and John. You guys get labelled with the stupid moronic labels that you are far right, and I want to apologise kind of Alex, because he's a paedophile hunter. His main priority is protecting our children, the animals online, and for him to be branded a far right fascist because he was attending here was absolutely disgusting.
Yep.
So I'm hoping that the tag drops because guys like him don't deserve stuff like that. It was honestly, it was disgraceful, and it was kind of embarrassing that he was labelled with that because he was coming up to our protest. So
yep.
I'd like to apologise for him for that first, and as well. Yep. Alex did me a favour and got us a wee video message for Tommy, and I don't know if people know, but Tommy's shared a few things with my daughter. He gave Susanna a shout out for her birthday, so happy with that. But on the same day that my daughter managed to share the stage with John Watt, which was a massively proud parent moment, she was also invited personally by Tommy Robinson to lead the march in September in London with a lot more kids. Obviously it's his plan, so it's his details. He can give the rest of the details himself. But so she was buzzing when she heard that. I mean, she's a supporter of Tommy. I mean, people can criticise it all they want. They can criticise Tommy. They can call him this. They can call him that. At the end of the day, he's out there like you guys, fighting for our children's safety. Whether you like him or not, I couldn't really care for anybody that doesn't like him. What he's doing is phenomenal. Along with yourself, you risk your life going to Cali, going to Lesbos. It's crazy, and it's not for your own benefit. People will say, they're all grifters. They're all trying to make money. That's stupidity. You guys are out there trying to make sure that everybody in this country knows what's going on, that we don't get for the BBC. Oh, sorry, I don't want to give these guys mentions in case you get any back. The mainstream media, anyway.
Sorry, I'll say the BBC because I haven't got a TV licence because I don't watch TV. Okay, so BBC.
I'm near what I bring backlash from Craig.
Oh, sorry.
Okay. So it's phenomenal. I mean, at the end of the day, guys need to start watching you guys, following you, subscribing you. You guys are telling it how it is, and everybody needs to be watching you guys online. So, again, thank you very much. I see Mark Media has just put a comment up. So I'd like to thank him as well, Gorilla TV, and the young guy for Aberdeen.
DJR.
So, but without all you guys, this wouldn't have been possible. It would have just been a ridiculous little shouting match back and forward with the protesters. So we're definitely got to keep it going. Me and Suzanne were talking. I wanted to start hitting the migrant hotels on a constant. weekly basis, but I'm wanting a little break first because you know yourself. I've told you the kind of stuff that we've had to deal with behind the scenes. So a little break, a little breath of fresh air, and then we'll go again.
No, I'm not the wisest person in the world. I've just got a wee bit of experience, Stephen. And what I would say to you is, you've been running at full pelt for weeks. You all have you now and all the rest of the team, right? And it'll burn you out. But what's happening now is you're in that sort of, not even the hangover stage yet. It's that was some night, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Right, and that's keeping you going. But there will be a day come soon where you'll just bang. The adrenaline isn't pumping anymore. You already say that you're going, I've got nothing to do now, right? Because it's done. So there's a sort of anti-climax thing, and you think, well, that's over, and you'll hit a bottom. Just chill, take some days off, take some weeks off, recharge the batteries, but just be careful because it will come. So don't try to do the new thing like tomorrow, right? Just relax. Give yourself that time. Wait till you've hit that boom that I'm telling you about, and you'll know when you hit it and go, that was that thing Craig told me about, and then get another day or two and get yourself going. If that's what you decide you want to do, because we've already spoke about it privately, that if you guys all just decided, you know what, we get some amount of nonsense through that, we kind of don't want to put ourselves through it again. Nobody could hold anything against you because you have done far more than 99.99% of the population out there to try and make Britain a better place. So if that was to finish tonight and never to do another thing, you've done far more than the vast majority, and you went above and beyond. So I was just, when I was asked to go, I've got a sort of soft spot for the North East. I used to spend a lot of time in my youth up in Stonehaven. The friends of yours had a caravan up there.
Outdoor swimming pool.
What, sorry?
The outdoor swimming pool.
I've been fucking freezing in that a few times, I tell you.
You said it was hot. Aye, right. Oh, you've been in the North Sea then.
Aye. And then we used to go up regular for the fireballs. And then, as I say, I worked up in Aberdeen for a while, lived up there for a while. And so, I've got a soft spot for the area. And it was great to see that as soon as I heard that you were doing it, I had to come because I thought, you know what, you've got to support people because, and the thing for me was when you've got your rural communities, that's saying enough's enough. That should, the penny drop should everybody. Being in a big city like London or Manchester or Glasgow and you have this stuff, you kind of got to expect that kind of happens. But when it's happening in rural areas, anybody that's naive and wants to put their head in the sand, it's got to be a wake-up moment for them to say, well, what? That's that fishing village I know up for Aberdeen, right? That's bonkers. When you are affected by these stuff, the same as the rest is, then it's bonkers. And I just wanted to come up and say what I said. That was, he's only alone. Right, I've been all over the United Kingdom in the last 6 weeks alone. I'm not alone. But it's changing. The tide's turning. I can sense it. I can feel it. And the fact that we're outnumbering the counter pro, I said to you when the thing finished, I said, there's more coppers and counter protesters now. Right? And that the whole turning. So don't give up faith, and that's what you've done up there. You'll have had people. There'll be people sitting in rural Wales, right, in the backwaters in Northern Ireland, and some of the sort of rural bits, maybe Northumbria and the likes, that'll have took something out of what you've done because they'll go, they're just the same as us.
Yep.
Their industry might be fishing, and our industry might be farming, but they've got the same concerns, and they live in a place with under 20,000 folk, so they are. And you'll have inspired people, and that's what it's all about. So I don't need thanks for what I've done. You need thanks for what you've done because it was you that stood up. So well done, guys. All right, and I'm gratefully,
thank you,
gracious, thankful, and humbled that you've asked me to come, and I've been able to come and help in any way. That was just a bonus. Okay.
Brilliant.
So we're going to end up the marathon. I think this is my world record length of, and I'm going away for 3 days tomorrow. So I kind of need to get like stuff because I'm always running a bit last minute. So
buy you a trouble, Craig. Yeah.
Aye, well, I'm staying in Scotland. I'm just going to somewhere nice and quiet with my partner, and she's got a wee boy who's 13. So they're back at school Thursday. So we're just going to get away for somewhere for 3 days and just chill out, to be honest with you. So,
well, hey, I'm also going to get a couple of the flyers printed out and get them sent to you so you can have one on your back wall for your new studio.
Aye, normally the camera's a bit wider. I don't know how to do it now, and I've got a wee bookshelf up there that's got some I broke the telly. No, that's here. So over there,
yeah.
the bookshelf, it's got some wee daft things. So I've got some books up there, and the thing about the books are, they books, you have to be on the show to get your book up there. So there's a few missing that I've got, like Robert Gillians and stuff. So we'll get them up there.
Well, we'll send you the poster first, and then once we get to Kenya a bit better, we'll maybe get a book here.
No bother. Good kisses and all that, right? No, listen, guys, it's been tremendous, and thanks for that. It's been good fun today just to sit around the whole thing off. I think it's been quite a nice thing to do, and the people and the comments, they seem to have enjoyed it. So, there's somebody else popped in. Thanks very much, Divergent. That's fantastic. That'll go to your equipment and stuff. So thanks very much for that. That is appreciated. So just me to do my usual end of show, how I finish things up normally. Thank everybody that's come up to talk, everybody that's listened, everybody that's shared, everybody that's put comments, and everybody that's put some super stickers and memberships into the pot. That's absolutely fantastic and humbling. But most importantly, unless you are a half-wit lefty that wants to come and stand against the good people in the northeast of Scotland when they're out wanting to make the place a better place for their children, or the type of half-wit that thinks that you love Scotland more than us because you want folk not for Scotland to come and overrun it, then not you. But everyone else, have a great day. Cheery bye now.